God damn, Halo is sexy.
Got pretty sexy, yeah.
What pisses me off? Right.
Those circles, man. Those circles with holes in the middle.
Like, honestly, just say what you want. We're just trying to have a good time. You know, like...
A shot for every time someone says Halo, right?
Oh! Wait, can we get Alejandro to add a Halo counter to the video?
Oh god, that'd be funny.
No, yeah, Jordan, so we have Christian's brother, Alejandro, doing the video edits for us.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, whenever we mention Alejandro, we're just essentially talking about our video editor, who's gonna listen to all this later.
Yeah, just cut out the next 15 minutes of the podcast, and then just fill it in with, like, random noise.
Halo.
Of a different podcast.
Yeah, just put in a better podcast instead.
You said as our promo, put in actual Soviet Womble trailer.
Here's a snippet from GameSpot's trailer breakdown. We're too dumb to talk about it.
No, you have to merge like two of the most shared like places. You gotta merge like Kotaku and IGN into the same video.
Just have them both playing at the same time, just overlapping each other.
Yeah, I mean, they'd probably say it sounds exactly the same anyways, because they're just like, here's some generic news that everyone already knows about.
Oh, you see how...
let's make a 20-minute video, like, only playing 5 minute of a 5-minute trailer.
Oh god.
Like the same, like 3 clips of the same trailer over and over again.
It's for that YouTube money,
What did it mean?
dude.
Yeah, it's like, what did it mean when Master Chief walked forward? And it's like, maybe he wants to take a step forward. Like, what's the big deal?
No, dude, it's about them adding a walking mechanic. See, you get normal walk, you get running, and now you get slow walking mechanics.
Is sprint confirmed for Halo Infinite? Let's have a look at how fast Master Chief walks.
I think I've read... No, I've seen, like, 40-minute... like breakdowns of like how sprint affects Halo map design and
don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
I love all that because it's all just a pile of shit. It's like, you know, it takes a lot more than sprint to affect how gameplay as a whole works in a game. Not just like actually Halo 3 movement speed is the exact same as sprint in Halo 5, and it's like, yeah, but the game doesn't work the same, dumbass. So it's not gonna have the same effect.
Do people actually talk about that? Like, seriously?
Yeah, that was a big, like, talking point back in the day. Like, sprint was, like...
It's still a talking point now.
Yeah, it is.
Oh
Actually.
my god. Oh.
I got friends that are really into Halo, and it's a really big mistake in his point of view about the series, where things start kind of going down.
Yeah, also Clamber was a...
No, go on, you say about Clamber. It's all good.
Oh, they're just talking about how also Clamber people are very, like, purists are seeing Clamber as a big, like, a negative thing in, like, level design as well as how you're supposed to play, because traditionally I think it was, like, jump crouching had to become a skill you learn for higher level.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, like, both of those points can be completely disproven as bullshit anyways. Like, the whole sprint thing was in Halo 2 anyway, and it got cut before the game came out. As for armor abilities, they were even concepted for Halo 3. They just never actually got put in the game due to technological, restraints.
And you also saw the fact that, like, they... Go on.
I was gonna say, like, the armor abilities kind of made it in a way as, like, the equipment. Like,
yeah, I was gonna talk about that.
That all got taken away, and kind of got shoved into the...
I made a video on that.
Oh, did you?
I did, yeah, on, like, the evolution of armor abilities in Halo. And, like,
I wonder if I've seen it around somewhere, because I know I've watched a video.
I doubt it. No, I doubt it. Like, I probably made it first, and because I'm so small, someone was probably like, that's a nice video, I'm gonna take that and put it on my channel, and then it, like, blew up on their channel.
That's cool.
But, it was actually the first video I ever made on my channel.
Oh.
Nearly a year ago? Wow, okay.
Only a year ago? Dang!
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been making these podcasts for almost a year now. Funny enough, right, Christian?
We haven't. There's my video. Look at that shitty thumbnail. Enjoy. Evolution? Question mark.
You get yellow text on it. Giant questions. Check out here. Secret Halo equipment never before seen.
Area 51 uncovered Halo 3 equipment.
I was looking at battle plans for Area 51 before this, just so everybody knows.
So what's everyone's plan to go as for Area 51? Like, we got your Kyles, we got your Naruto runners, we got your rock throwers. I'm definitely going.
So I just found out Karen got invited. Karen's gonna talk to the Area 51 manager.
Oh fuck.
Oh no. That's gonna make things harder for us though, because everyone's gonna like be like, oh fucking hell, they're gonna have extra prep there.
I mean, Karen is like the initial, like, basically the distraction, and then we have the K-pop stands rushing in afterwards.
Oh fuck! Thank God they're going. God Jesus Christ!
I thought we were having another army of sending the furries in first. I thought that was the cannon fodder.
Wait, is it an army of furries or are they mounts? Like they are like the cavalry?
No.
Nobody wants to mount them. No one wants to.
I was referring more as cannon fodder, but you know, whatever works.
That's why they're the vanguard. They're.
Oh, you got the Naruto runners running in as the fucking infantry. You got people on top mounting furries as a cavalry. Oh god. Oh, rock throwers as artillery. Okay, I like where this is going.
Yeah, you've got like the Kyles as the tanks because they're like the monster energy drink with like heroines. They just can't feel any pain when they get shot. They just continue to tank all the bullets and just walk forward.
Hey man, I like my monster drinks, man. When I get on monster, yeah, exactly. I just don't stop. You just can't stop me.
You turn into a monster.
Indeed. Right. But where's our air support? We need like air support, dude.
Like drones? Like we're gonna get those tiny
drones
No, we like hack some Amazon drones, delivery drones.
I was thinking we throw paper airplanes.
I was thinking that too.
Your idea sounds much better.
We can have both, you know. We don't need to exclude one.
Well, you see, the draft from your drones is gonna fuck up my paper airplane, so I don't think it's gonna work like that.
Don't know.
It's gonna be a multi-wave attack.
Above the propellers, and like the paper airplanes could like hover above the drones.
We could.
Hey, you put some rocks in those paper airplanes, and then like move the drone quick enough. Move the drone quick enough.
Your kamikaze squad.
There we go, kamikaze squad. See, I got it. Why I should work for the army. Like they should just.
Let's see your new weapons designs, Jordan. It's like, well, I've got a paper airplane with a firecracker in it.
They're like, by God, why didn't we think of this before?
Save us millions.
Wait, that would actually be a good idea. You should you should run for commander of the Area 51 army raid.
Yeah, I'm like,
start a campaign on Facebook.
Intel on a plan. I'm like actually undercover. I'm like, thank God they're gonna destroy us all.
On the cover of Times Magazine. This man will lead men into Area 51. God save us all.
I'd be really interested though to see if it actually happened. Well, like if they'd cover it or not on the news.
I'm sure they'll cover it on the news. But
I think people are gonna make a trip. It's just gonna be kind of like a mini Burning Man.
I mean, like, I'd also, the kind of people who go to that, I don't think are the kind of people who are going to, like, stand up to police, you know, against riot police if they show up. Police are going to show up, it's like, alright, go home now. They go, okay. Alright then.
Nah, we needed to hire, like, the extremists of society, like all the feminazis. Like, because they would just argue no matter what. So you just send them first to argue with the guards, be like, this is our right to come into this location.
We deserve to know about the secrets.
I'm not leaving.
I'd be like, ma'am, if you don't step back, I'm gonna have to shoot you in the head. They'd be like, how dare you speak to me like that?
God.
And then they just go, boom. One
God.
shot in the head. And everybody wins.
Especially people who didn't go.
Exactly.
We just get to watch.
We get memes either way. If it doesn't happen, we get memes. If it does happen, we get memes.
And we don't get bruises or burns from tear gas.
Oh, for the game dev, Christian, this could be the good start of a new video game.
Oh God,
Tower defense, but for Area 51. There we go. Fish
Oh,
box.
God.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Defense would be
So you
great.
got one side playing the Area 51 tower defense side, and you got like the other players, like 50 players playing as the Area 51 raiding team. Oh
It's like
shit!
a mini battle royale, but
Yes.
tower defense.
Oh, that'd be
Really
good.
cool.
I love that. 1 versus 100,000.
That would be good.
Class of Kyle's or Karen or a Naruto runner.
Yes.
This is the Avengers game we actually deserve.
You know what? We're just gonna start the podcast. And
Uh-oh.
what the fuck is
Go downhill.
you?
Go downhill from here, folks.
You know what? I know the perfect way to start the podcast. Hold on. Boom.
Great, now I'm gonna have to stay here with an erection for 2 hours. Thanks a lot.
Anyways, yeah, so this is gonna be the Halo Infinite podcast. So yeah, just going through the info, we know that Halo 6 was now been christened as Halo Infinite. Halo
Please
Infinite.
don't call it Halo 6.
Wait, so
I'll literally
was
lose my mind.
it originally gonna be called Halo 6 though?
No,
They
No.
haven't ever mentioned it.
they announced when Halo 5 came out they were gonna stop doing numbered iterations.
Oh, they already
They
told.
said
They
that
already
when
said that.
Halo 4.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they released Halo 4, they said they wanted to start moving away from numbered iterations because they plan to make Halo games for a long time.
Ooh.
So, I mean, I can tell this on the podcast anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Give us some content.
That's been out for a while, that info.
But yes, so Halo Infinite, not Halo 6, developed by 343 Industries, published by Xbox Game Studios, will be releasing to PC, Xbox One, and Project Scarlet as a launch title in 2020.
Launch a title.
Shh.
Close to this.
It's French for launch.
Oh, and I didn't know this before, but yeah, it's gonna be a follow-up to Halo 5 as the third chapter in their Claimer saga. Like, I thought we were gonna be done.
Incorrect.
Oh, so
We'll get into that later.
okay, we'll
Yeah.
get into that later. Intros. Let's get it. So yeah, please subscribe. How did you get into Halo? Keep it short, please. What is your favorite Halo game? What is your favorite aspect of Halo? And what kept you a fan of Halo? We're just gonna go down the list vertically and skip nickname because he's just here as image support. Say hi to nickname. Hi nickname.
Your nickname?
Hello.
Yes, he'll be he'll be in Checkpoint Images, just giving us image support. Christian, you are up.
Yep. Alright, Halo was, I guess, the shooter growing up for me. Like, that's where I invested most of my time. I also, like, it was a neighborhood game. Like, all, like, us 5th, 4th graders would just meet up at my house, someone else's house, and just play it for hours. And, yeah, that was just kind of a very childhood nostalgic game, which is how I always, like, kept Halo, like, in my mind slightly. I mean, I do like it, genuinely. I think it's a really fun sci-fi world that I feel like people give more shit than it deserves.
What's your favorite Halo game though?
I mean, that's 3. That's just because it came out at prime, like pre-high school, middle school age, and I'm like, have all this time to play it, and the fan base was at its like peak, I feel, around that time. So it just felt like being a part of that community was at its most active. So that I think I just look back at that time in that game very positively.
And what has kept you a fan of Halo, if it's still kept
Kind
you?
of already said that earlier, just like that nostalgia to it has always been fun. I still enjoy the games in the world. Like even like the commercials for Halo 3, I got really invested in like the stories of like survivors or veterans that were in that fight. They always like build this like conclusion at the end. So I got really invested in the story. After Halo went beyond Halo 3, I was kind of feeling a little weird about it. Like, oh, I thought we were done with this, so I thought it ended. Like, there's a nice bow at the end. But I'm excited to see what's moving forward. Like, there's clearly trying to make Halo be a forever franchise, but I want to see how they keep. I don't want any of it to fail. I want it to be good.
Good shit. About the whole having a bow at the end, that's the fucking way I felt about goddamn Kingdom Hearts 3. I hate that game so fucking much. Oh, don't even get me started. Fuck Sora. He's such a bad character. Ashes, you're up.
Yes. Played Halo since I was 10. I think the first time I played Halo was back in Mexico where there's this stores and they have a bunch of video games and you can pay 5 pesos to play one game. And I decided that the one space-looking one looked kind of nice, and that's the first time I played Halo 2. And since then, I just started loving it. And then my friends got consoles, I got consoles, and I mean, to this day, I still play it. I still have friends come over and we still play matches in Halo 3 and Halo 2 and Combat Evolve on multiplayer. It's quite fun. Yeah, I still love the franchise. I still really like it, and I had it all my childhood, and it was all we played back in high school and middle school. Yeah, it was basically all that we play and that we talk about. We've bought magazines to know where their skulls are at, and
oh my god,
we talk about the challenges.
Are great.
Oh.
We talk about the challenges too. That I beat the game, with this skull on and without this skull on. Or whatever, and it was really nice times. I really cherish those moments. We playing Halo back in the day. It's a very, as Chris said, he pretty much nailed everything he said. It's basically pretty similar to me. It's very nostalgic to think about those games, and I'm still happy to play them because up to this day, I still enjoy them in a narrative way and in a gameplay-wise game, and in the story and the characters. I mean, just replaying Halo 3. It's so sad to see characters die because there is a meaningful impact because of you grow up playing with those characters and you understand them because you feel like you've been with them for a long time. So yeah, to this day I still enjoy the Halo games.
Shit. Just you mentioning about how you guys would brag about the accomplishments you made just makes me think of how when we were kids, that was the only way we could really measure our dicks to each other. Just like, I did this in this game, I got this achievement, what did you do? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do with your life?
I beat the game on legendary. Yeah, what did you complete today?
Yeah, I beat legendary on and sometimes just people lie. Like, legendary in 23 minutes. I bet you can't do that. And we were like, what?
Things you can get away with it back then. Now, we'll find your records on
yeah, let's Google your shit. Show it, fucking screen cap it.
They'll find your account.
I actually did just try to look up my Halo 3 service record, and I can't find it. I think they took all those down. So
yeah,
that was
wiped.
They took them down?
Wait, is that true, Saife, or are you just trying to cover yourself?
I just went to Bungie.net. No, seriously, I can't. I put in my gamer tag. I can't find it at all.
Is there no Halo follower?
Have you tried in Halo 3, on your 360? Have you tried checking on it? Because I checked mine, and last time I checked, it was there. Yeah.
I mean, you can put Halo 3 in your Xbox One as well, and it should work as well.
I think I have it on Marketplace. I could probably load it off to the side here and see. In fact, I'll just do that right now while I do my intro. How about that?
Sounds good.
So I'm safe. Hello.
Glad to hear you're safe.
I got into Halo. My neighbor had Halo Combat Evolved. And I got really into that game when he had me over, and then I begged my parents to get me an Xbox, and at the time Halo 2 was out, so I got Halo 2, and then my neighbor didn't give a fuck about Halo, apparently, so I never played it with him. And then I think Halo 3 was the first one I played on Xbox Live. My favorite game it's kind of a tie between ODST and Reach. I was always really a fan of their spin-off games.
Reach was great. Reach was so good.
Yeah, Reach definitely beats the from the two there. But even though I said I think earlier that I didn't have friends who played Halo, I had 2 friends that played Halo, and I imagine that's what really kept me with it for the most part. I was always interested in the art and the story and the universe that they've built with that game, but yeah, if you don't have buddies to play with, it's kind of hard to keep up with it on your own.
Good shit.
Am I missing anything?
What was your favorite Halo game, though? Your one most favorite Halo game?
Reach, yeah.
Reach?
I said it was a tie between ODST and Reach, but I gotta give it to Reach.
Good shit. Jordan, Poncho Chief, you're up.
Yo, I'm up. Okay, how did I get into Halo? So yeah, I mean, like most people, introduced via another person. For me, like I was like 6 years old when Halo Combat Evolved came out.
Oh, lollipop, I like this.
But my older cousin had the original Xbox with Combat Evolved. So I got into playing Halo basically through split screen. Because me and my cousins, like I got a lot of cousins, but me and my older cousin, who's always been a gamer, used to come round every single week. So basically, from when the game launched, throughout Halo Combat Evolved's lifespan and throughout Halo 2's lifespan, I played the games every single week, up until the 360 came out and I got my own 360. So that's how I was introduced into Halo, really, was just through family. In terms of what my favourite Halo game is, I really don't have a favourite. I think each Halo game kind of has something unique to it and kind of introduced something new or did something different in a way that makes it special in its own way. So for me to have a favourite, I really wouldn't.
That's a great answer.
Cop answer, yeah. No, it's a tough one. I mean, I could tell you what game has my favourite campaign, what has my favourite multiplayer, what has my favourite soundtrack, but to pick an overall favourite, I really just don't have one. In terms of like my favourite aspect of Halo, again, it's a difficult one. Campaign and multiplayer are always two things that are very close to my heart. But again, I couldn't pick which one I prefer because they're both equally as important to me. And yeah, I mean, I'm still going hard on Halo. I was playing it today, so and I'll probably be playing it for as long as I can breathe. So yeah.
What Halo were you playing? Halo 5?
Halo 5. Well, I was trying to. I was mainly stuck in the menus because we can't get any games on the UK servers. As you can see if you visit my Twitter. But yeah.
So subtle.
Yeah.
Find Jordan's Twitter at writing_Spartan.
That's me. Yeah, there we go. I don't even need to plug it because you can do it for me. But yeah, no, Halo 5's a nightmare to try and get a game on because I'm like Onyx champ level, and the player base is just dead for UK people. So yeah, so Halo Infinite's gonna be good because all the new people will be coming around, and you'll have all the PC people and all the tryhards that gave Halo 5 a miss will be coming back. So it's gonna be a massive population. I can't wait.
Twitter tag down for some goddamn reason.
No, I'm excited to see what happens when Infinite comes out. That community aspect of Halo was always like a really strong piece of like the interest I had. Like I didn't really have a friend group online I played with, but just seeing people post photos or post like maps they make or game modes that just get invented. It was always very active, and that was part of the appeal.
It got insanely creative. Like incredibly creative with Forge mode.
Have you seen some of the stuff in Halo 5 with the scripting and stuff? It's just ridiculous.
I haven't because really I feel like it's gonna make me feel bad.
It's insane. No, I was just gonna say it's just crazy the stuff people have been able to make with like the scripting abilities in Halo 5's Forge. It's just disgusting. I don't know how they do it.
Like, what kind of things do they make?
Yeah.
Have they already made a battle royale mode?
That's one thing that I'm surprised they haven't made because it realistically wouldn't be too complicated. It'd just be a moving crazy king that reduces over time. It's not something that couldn't be done.
Huh. And let me just do a quick intro about B-Chan myself. How I got into Halo mostly. Okay, honestly, I got into Halo because I had a friend who liked Halo, who had an Xbox, but I was a Nintendo fan. I was like, fuck you, dude. God damn it, Kevin. Fucking stealing all my friends. Like, whenever we had, like, meetups, he'd be like, let's go play Halo at my place, guys. And I'm like, wait, I want to play Smash at my place. And everyone's like, no, let's go play Halo on the Xbox. So it's cool, it is edgy. No, that was my introduction to Halo, and I was like, fuck Halo. And then Halo 3 came out, and they started putting out these really, really cool, badass trailers. I don't know if you guys remember. There's that one trailer of like the little figurines and like the slow piano music. Oh god, that was so fucking good.
I've seen part of that sculpture. It's a really nice
sculpture.
In
person.
Oh, that's sick. I just know that trailer got me so hyped. Like, I learned how to play that piano song. Like, I watched every Halo 3 trailer. It just felt good, you know. It was about the whole, like, the tagline, like, finish the fight. I was just getting hyped for it because it just looked good. Like, every trailer that Halo 3 came out with looked amazing. And I was like, yo, like, I'm down to jump on the hype train now because
it was kind of like that generation's endgame.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, even though
that generation, dude.
What?
It was like less than like 12 years ago.
I know, I'm just saying, like, at that moment.
What?
It's genre-defining kind of game. That's what Halo series was, man.
I guess console generation, I'll give you that one.
No, but yeah.
I know, it's the same generation, but still.
Like, yeah, so Halo 3 was when I first really got into Halo. And I have to say that Halo 3 probably is my favorite Halo game because, that's when I really got into, like, the Halo music. That's when I started learning how to play, like, the Halo main theme song, the piano. When I started downloading, the Halo music tracks. When I started actually trying to get an Xbox and played Halo 3, which is my first Halo game. And honestly, what has kept me a fan of Halo has been, in part, the music, but also just like the driving storyline behind Master Chief, because I honestly love the story that Master Chief had from Halo 1, 2, 3, as him just being this one badass guy trying to save humanity while the rest of humanity is just fucking itself over. And honestly, the more recent parts of the Halo story hasn't been too great, unfortunately. Like, it felt like the game story should have ended at Halo 3, like Christian said. Like, it had that it had a bow tie on it. But we can only hope to see what comes next, right? And we can only hope it's going to be better.
I'm really glad they didn't stop at Halo.
Tanking.
No,
my internet connections, I think I'll stop it.
No. I mean, yeah, thank God they didn't stop at Halo 3. Thank God they did not stop at Halo 3, but like...
Yeah, no, I'm glad they didn't, just from a story perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really hated Halo 3.
Oh,
like, I don't hide it. I despise Halo 3.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah.
It's just really lazy writing from a story perspective.
Oh.
Like, it's made out to be like this epic end to the trilogy, but realistically, if you look at how much story they had to tell after the end of Halo 2 versus how much they stretched it out to be, it was just like, it was not a game's worth of content.
Oh, okay. In that case, I have to agree. I definitely have to agree with that in that point. Halo 3's story was
I would agree with
not great. Like, I honestly like Reach's story better, but for me, it just felt like Halo 3 was kind of like the end of the story to the overall Halo 1 through 3 series. But yeah, for 3 itself, definitely was not an amazing story.
If they didn't have the legendary cutscene in there, I would probably 100% agree. The legendary cutscene being in there is the one thing that stopped me from being like, yeah, Bungie wanted to finish the trilogy. Because it's just a kick in the nuts. It's like they clearly put that in there to tease, like, I mean, they had stuff there to continue the games. Like, they had story there.
Yeah.
They just never got around to implement it because they fell out with Microsoft. So.
Well, how much of including that in the first place is from Microsoft and from Bungie? Like, obviously, Microsoft has a vested interest in keeping this franchise going, but Bungie probably not.
I mean, have you guys read, was it Blood, Sweat, and Pixels? Like, talking about the making of Destiny and Bungie's, like, goal of being independent and moving away from Microsoft.
Oh, and
specific thing.
I don't know, just talk about that.
I about it, though.
Yeah, just talk about the process of leaving it and how they want to basically just become independent, leave all the Halo stuff away, and give it to Microsoft. So that clearly, like, Microsoft is the invested interest, where Bungie wanted to be its own thing, and now they're the Destiny developers.
I mean, Bungie like really came to resent Halo. They really did. Hate the franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
because they were basically in a position where they were getting forced to make a game that they really didn't want to make anything more than Like they had only planned for one game, right? Which was Combat Evolved.
Oh.
So when Halo 2 was being made, they weren't planning it to be a trilogy anyways. It was just going to be another Halo game. So what with everything that happened with the development and stuff, they kind of didn't have time to finish their story, right? Which is why Halo 3 exists, is to round off the little bit that they didn't get to finish at the end.
And it's also why Halo 2 kind of ends up as abruptly as it does.
Exactly, yeah. So, it's I don't know, it's they basically just started hating the game. The only reason they put ODST out and Reach Out was because they had 2 games left on the contract to make under Microsoft, so
oh dang,
they didn't really particularly want to make them.
It's ODST is such a beautiful game.
Oh, it is. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a great game, but like they didn't want to make it.
The competent developers, I guess I understand. Like, their goal was to move away from Halo after Halo 1. It sounds like. It's funny because they ended up, in the book, they mentioned how there are people that were in the studio just to make Halo because they were big fans, and now when they left, they had to kind of figure out what's going on, and they ended up making another weird sci-fi shooter with fantasy elements, and it's kind of like it's almost like a curse. They're like making Halo again, but under a different name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
You kind of described Destiny.
No, I'm talking about Destiny and Bungie.
Okay, I thought you were talking about some other game.
No,
Very similar.
That one game that kind of looks like Halo, but
sci-fi though. No, I was just gonna say they've always been into making sci-fi type games, anyways, even way before Halo came along.
Oh, what did they make before that? I actually don't know.
Marathon.
Oh, right. That never took off, did it? Shit.
No, it had a sick trilogy. It just wasn't like cute.
Bungie was also much smaller at the time.
Oh yeah, Bungie was like 12 people or something. Like, it was so small.
Oh damn.
Did any of you guys get Recon in Halo 3, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did after they gave it to everyone. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought more meant like with the Vidmasters.
No, I did a challenge.
Oh, yeah, Vidmasters. Yeah, that's what like I more meant. Like when you were asking, I thought you meant like before the Vidmasters came out, when it was actually hard to get.
Oh yeah, that was I totally forgot about that too. There was
yeah, that's why Recon was a rare thing in the first place. Was just
to be honest, it's not the best looking one out of all of them. It was just because it was so rare.
Yeah, I mean rarity is something that drives people crazy, especially for people like me who are completionists. So like trying to work my ass off to try and get both the Ice Unicorn skin and Fire Unicorn skin in Halo 5 was an absolute nightmare. Thank God I actually got them in the end.
Anyways, let's just move on to more Halo Infinite stuff. So I'm gonna put the trailer up on Checkpoint Images, and now is the hard task of syncing everyone hitting play together. Okay.
You had me crying, sorry in advance.
But yeah, so we're just gonna check this trailer out, and just give your first initial reactions. And
we're doing 2018 first, right?
Yes, we're doing the 2018 one first. It's in Checkpoint Images.
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
We're gonna go at 1, okay? Not after 1, not before 1, we're gonna go at 1. Is that clear? I'm gonna count down from 3 to 1.
I think so. I'll try my best.
No promises.
Instructions unclear, penis stuck in toaster, what do?
That was still
make some toast.
Fuck! Make some fried sausages. Anyways, alright. Counting down. 3, 2, 1. Everyone got that, yes? We're watching it, fuck it.
I've already got a massive grin on my face.
Got a huge boner.
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding, it's not that huge.
I also have a small boner. It just looks so good. It just looks so good.
Oh, what's that say? I wonder.
Let's make 100 million
Oh
videos
look,
about
it's
it.
foreshadowing, guys.
Hey, it's the crates.
Is that
I remember them from Halo 2.
3?
That's actually how I figured out what this was when I first watched it.
Oh, from the
crates?
crates?
The crates.
Damn! Friggin' Halo
That was a
fanatic
giveaway for me. The beacons.
I will ride those. I want to be able to ride those.
They're only very similar to Earth animals.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Make it earthy, but not too earthy.
Oh, what the fuck?
This is a battle royale.
Wait a minute, is this Halo?
I recognize the grass.
And then, the music, just,
What a nice place to get started.
Oh,
This is where I
The
change.
hit.
wish.
Yeah, the hit.
Oh.
God damn, it looks so beautiful. Yeah.
So we're starting the video now.
Fuck. Oh, I got
wait.
goosebumps. Oh, hello.
Don't forget about good old Chief at the end.
Oh, on Xbox.
Games
And
play
that
best on
Cortana
Xbox
cameo.
One.
Ooh, Xbox
Very
One.
end.
Games play best on Xbox One, just so you guys know.
Well, they play.
They work on Xbox One. You can try it on PS4.
Yeah, they
One
work.
X is pretty good. One X is pretty good.
Hey, at least I'm not
Xbox
sensitive.
now with working.
Fuck, dude. Oh god, yeah, Jordan. Like, I also have a huge grin, and also just a huge boner. Yes. No, dude, I got goosebumps just watching that again. Just when the music dropped, when you see Chief's helmet. Oh.
Yeah, I remember. Was it last year's E3? That was like, from I was watching at home and just getting that chill when you saw.
Watching at home?
I think I was watching at school actually while I was in the art institute, and I was like trying to show it around to everyone like, in that classroom, and everyone's like, "Okay, who gives a shit?" I'm like,
No.
I do. I give a shit. Go back
It's
into
like,
your room,
It
cry.
matters to me.
And I was in Atlanta when this happened, so I couldn't go to E3 this year.
Or last year, right?
But it was like, no, but like it was. It's funny, right? When I was a kid watching these trailers and being like, "Oh, I wonder what's gonna be like." Getting that hype, because I guess I'm a bit jaded now. I've been able to go to a few E3s, and it's like this is like that kind of kick that you need that kind of gets you super excited for like just anything. I don't know.
I felt the same way. I don't know if you were like me, where as a kid when like the Halo 3 trailer came out, I think I watched it like multiple times
Oh
every
yes,
day,
yeah.
and just
Same.
burned myself out of it. And I was still excited about Halo 3 when it came out. But then when like the marketing was starting to roll out for Halo Reach, I just avoided it like the plague. I'm like, I'm not going to do that to myself again.
You know what?
It's funny. Actually, when this is tangential, when GTA 5 came out, a friend of mine, me and him were so hyped up that he had just a trailer audio playing in his car, and we would just listen to it as we were just like hanging out.
You know, they actually released a song though. Like, why listen to the trailer audio?
Because he would just make jokes about the lines and the characters would say.
Like,
Yeah, no,
ever
that's-
wonder what's
that's
up there?
Oh, yeah, the kid from the Halo 3 trailer. Oh man, I got so excited for that. The movie idea. I was like making it in my head.
When Halo was about to become its own live-action movie. Oh, I
Wasn't there
that.
one for the guy that made this District
Yeah.
9?
He
He was
I think.
he
It was
made
the one
a
with the ODSTs.
small trailer for it.
Oh, for
like
Reach,
the
I think, right?
District. What's that?
No, it wasn't for Reach.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like the ODSTs with the warthogs.
Oh yeah, that's
Roots and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And I
good.
don't think it's the actual ODST trailer. It was like a little short film with ODSTs in it.
It was a short film.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That was a good one. That was actually really well done too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
very well
coolest
for
shit
its
to me
time.
was they were showing how like the sniper rifles assembled and like they screw in the barrel into the receiver. I'm like, oh god.
And you
the
can
little
actually
hot
see how scary brutes really were. Because in the games you're playing as a super enhanced human, but when you see the perspective of actual normal people,
That's
brutes are
horrible.
fucking scary.
That's why I like ODST so much, because you're actually smaller in game, And so you forget that in Halo 3 you're like the 7.5 foot like monster human, and in ODST you're just a dude.
Yeah,
That's one of the fun things
around.
Look at this dude.
Like, if you look at the trailer this year, you have the normal Marine, and then you have the giant that is Chief.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
The tree trunk of the me.
let's move on to the 2019 trailer. Yeah. Smooth transition, B-Chan. Why, thank you, B-Chan.
I thought I was gonna get like a little. I
Put
was
the
trying to
hard
say,
brakes on that conversation.
That was also
Move
good.
on.
Thank you, Christian, for bringing that up. Alright. Same as last time. We're gonna go on one. On one, okay? 3.
On go?
No. On one. Not even gonna say go. Fuck. Alright. I'm
On
ready.
one.
3, 2, 1. Xbox exclusive.
Warning. Pressure building in lines 4, 17, and 33. Pressure building in lines 4, 17, and 33. Pressure building in lines 4, 7. Protocol accepted. Range detected.
Rip.
I think this is the point in the trailer. I forgot I was watching a Halo trailer.
Yeah. Oh, this is also funky.
Daddy's listening. Can you say hi? Hi. And how big are you? I'm big. Can you tell Daddy how big you are? Are you so big? So big.
The way the face wraps around freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's a really shit-looking hologram.
It's probably HoloLens. Like,
That's because it
hologram.
was filmed on the Kinect. That's why it looks shit.
yeah.
Damn.
Like,
And I can't wait to
This is
Oh, it
also such
actually
a cool
was.
transition though.
Actually,
Yeah, that's such a great transition.
Bye-bye.
Like, time passage.
Yeah. But I mean, he could have just had it on a phone.
Technology.
that's at least a couple of months, I'm assuming.
that's like one night or something.
He just
That's
grows a
one
beard
bottle
really
of Jack
quickly.
Daniels.
Yeah, he's got a really bad beard problem.
Oh. Who dat?
I gotta say though, his beard looks great for a video game.
Friendly. Signal detected. Tag designated.
This is UNSC Pelican Echo 216. Can you hear me? This is UNS.
Fucking chills.
I'm gonna have to clean up again.
I was literally sobbing so heavily at this point in the trailer. I couldn't even barely see the trailer.
Damn.
Damn.
1,000 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Forgot how much this armor weighs.
I think he's supposed to weigh around like 500 pounds with the armor and all.
Armor shut down.
Without
Or
the
no,
armor?
I think it's actually closer to a ton. I'll look it up.
I'm going to try to override.
Yeah, I think it's over a ton.
If you can hear me in there,
450 kilograms.
Oh, here we go.
So,
Here we go.
please don't die. Please. Don't die.
Oh, that's nice. Nice hearing that again.
Yes! 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 We're going home! Oh, welcome back, Chief. I rerouted what little power I had into your suit.
New engine, right?
Looks like there's a problem with the servos in your
Yeah.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
Stay calm.
Looks really
Been out
good.
there a while.
ooh, that looks pretty.
I know I saw something in here to check your armor's diagnostics.
I can't do that with my hand. What the
You
hell do
need to
do that?
remind us, man. Is that enough? We don't have Cortana anymore.
Whoa,
Those were connected to nothing.
You're not status report. Status report? What? There's something you need to see, Chief. We lost everything. There's nothing left for us here. I don't think we're here is. Not then! Not again! We need to run!
No, we need to fight.
What a Chad! What a Chad!
The trailer could have been more, and I need more. Wait a minute, I haven't seen this.
You haven't? Oh my
Because you
god.
were special. I knew we would be perfect together. And I was right.
She cray.
You're gonna deal with Cortana? What?
She cray.
Well, yeah, that's where the last game left off.
Oh, okay. I figured it was gonna be more of a side quest type of game that where you're doing something while Cortana is destroying the world or something. I mean the galaxy and purging out of electricity.
Woo! So, the trailer. Reactions. Give it to me. What was sick? What was notable? What do you think it means? Hello?
I think getting a full look at Master Chief for the first time in this new engine was like incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
It's like for me, at least with I was not in love with how Halo or how Master Chief looked in Halo 4, but I kind of just got used to it over time. Like I understood it was part of like the change in art style, but it was just good to have that affirmation of breaking back the stuff that at least I personally really loved about the design of the game, or at least the art design of the game.
The music just gets you. Oh.
Well, also just the general sound design, like the UI sounds or the shields go back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is really close to what it sounded like in Halo 3 and the games prior. Yeah, in Halo 4, and I think really mostly in Halo 5, they went with like this really bassy, distorted, like sound design that I wasn't personally a fan of, and I'm really glad to see that they're kind of going back to, again, what I personally liked.
Jordan,
It's funny,
I want to hear your
that
thoughts on
is-
this. Oh, sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just on the previous point, just like how much of it is just nostalgia and how it's kind of like hinting at that, kind of like giving us a little bit of what we loved when we were younger, and it just, at least for me, it's part of the excitement. It's like, oh, this is Halo again, not like Halo Guardians, where it's like it makes you want to hop back inside and kind of check this out. Being away from it for a while, it's been kind of weird to see where Halo went.
Yeah. Dude, just for me, just when the music drops, when you hear the little piano, the ding, 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 like that shit, that just gets me so hard. Oh, fuck. Oh.
So, first things first with the trailer. I know we were joking while it was playing about the hologram. That actually was filmed using a Kinect.
Actually? Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, it was actually filmed using the Kinect, so that's why it looks the way it does.
I'm glad we're still using Kinect in like 200 years.
Yeah, they just straight up scanned a person.
Oh,
and that's it.
God. Yeah, when you go
it
behind,
probably worked out a lot cheaper.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, but like when the camera panned behind it, that's when the hologram gets freaky. Where you're just like, what am I looking at, right? It's like I'm seeing a person from the inside. It feels weird.
It reminded me so much of like Dead Space's 2's opening, I think it might be Dead Space 1's opening, where Isaac is like video chatting with his girlfriend. It just had like that kind of similar atmosphere.
Now that I think about it,
It's really,
I remember that. Yeah.
It's really interesting the kind of focusing on putting the human elements of the game back in another character as well, because they've made it very evident in the past 2 games that they wanted Master Chief to have that kind of human feel, so they're kind of dragging that away from the Chief again now. Which
I think that they might be having this character kind of ease Chief into it instead of like flipping a switch, because that was I think my kind of disconnect with it is that Master Chief was not my favorite character from the beginning in the Halo series. He's just by design that's an interesting character.
He's like a shell you play as.
Yeah, and so
players supposed to see themselves as Master Chief.
Sure.
That's what Bungie said in their first interviews when talking about who.
Oh yeah, and like in
Chief
their
is.
vid docs and stuff, they call him a ghost in the shell. That's by design. His character is kind of uninteresting on its own. So it was just kind of, I guess, my misgivings with Master Chief's like character development didn't feel organic at all. It was okay in Halo 4 and Halo 5. That I just didn't know what was going on with him, and I believe that like this like Marine character is going to be like Master Chief's maybe connection to the human world, other than a bunch of other higher ups and what is it, like commanding officers, just having a dude like a buddy going around. Have they talked too much about like what kind of game Halo's going to be, just to get a sense of like
Infinite?
how this character's going to fit into it? Yeah.
I don't know actually.
So what was the question? Sorry, in terms of what it's going to be.
Sorry, I just want to know like how this like Marine character is going to function in gameplay, and maybe knowing what kind of game the game will be will kind of inform that.
Well, in terms of like Brohammer, as everyone's calling him, yeah, that's his nickname. But they're trying to absolutely keep this under wraps, like what he is to the story and what his influences are going to be, because he's probably going to be one of the most important characters aside from Chief in the game. Because if he wasn't, they wouldn't be trying to keep him so secret, right? In terms of what kind of game it's going to be, like from a story perspective, I honestly have no idea. It's probably going to be something similar to Halo 4's approach, though, I assume.
I meant more in a gameplay perspective, because I've heard talks of this game being a little more open than Halo games traditionally are.
It's likely going to be semi-open world, if anything. Yeah, I mean, looking at the website, there's actually a separate website for the Slipspace engine. It has its own site that details kind of the vision for the future of Halo. That explains a little bit on what the engine is built upon, like the core values of the engine, and it does mention, actually, let me just pull it up. Slipspace engine.
Speaking of the Slipspace engine, so apparently that quote tech demo that we just saw, the opening cinematic, was all done in the Slipspace engine. That's insane.
Yeah, I think all footage has been done in it, and I mean, clearly, what the goals of what that engine's supposed to accomplish, because they're going to give us a hint of what this Halo game is going to be like. Going back to that character, Brohammer, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that was his name either. It gave me the vibes of like the commercials for Halo 3, like the humanity side of the normal people that just exist in this world that are also fighting to survive. And to me, it's exciting to get it. Like that's always something I never thought we got enough of. I mean, kind of
never paid off in the games, I felt.
Yeah, and ODST was probably the closest thing, and even then, it's still a little off. Or not.
Well, yeah, because you still spend. Sorry, I keep interrupting. Yeah.
Oh no, you're good.
It's just that in every Halo game, you spend so much time as just part of the Marines and part of your Spartan team and part of your elite team or whatever. You never really get to spend a moment with just people. It's why I love Halo Reach's opening so much. Is that that's I think the first time in a game you see like regular people, like just people living in their little shack home.
And even the people who like were like part of the Reach team, like they still had their own lives, like they had their own personalities, which was really cool to see.
Right. You know, this is really weird deep cut. Before Halo Guardians came out, I was really invested in their radio drama that was talking about like the human side of living in the world prior to the events of Halo 5, and like finding them hearing the Chief was like a traitor or something like that, or all these like stories and rumors, and basically it's all like
the truth.
Yeah, it's not the truth. I was really invested in that just because I loved hearing about like the normal people in that world and like what their problems are, what their day-to-day lives are like, and their concerns and their views of Chief. Because like to them, he's like this, like a fairy tale that's real. In some way.
The truth has to be like one of the best, if not the best, medias for a video game ever created.
I got so invested into it. It was really fun to watch, and then kind of hearing how disappointing the game was kind of soured it a bit.
Yeah.
My biggest deal, at least from a story's perspective from Halo 5, is that it imports so much story from the books that were never really present in the games. And so if you were to jump from, and it kind of happens in Halo 4, but it really go off the rails with it in Halo 5, where if you went from the previous game to this one, I was totally lost. I didn't know who these new Spartans were besides like Buck. I like didn't know what, and I didn't know where Master Chief became a traitor, you know, because that all happened like off screen.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you're following some new guy.
Annoyed fans the most was like not reintroducing Blue Team in game, but they did it in one of the comics instead, and they only had 2 panels for the like Blue Team getting reintroduced with Master Chief was like a 2-panel thing, and it was just like, are you serious? Like, some fans have waited like 15 years for this, or however long it had been, and we get 2 panels. Like, the whole leading up to Halo 5 thing was just a complete mess, and it's mainly Xbox's fault, you know, it's not really down to 343 Industries, but...
Why is that?
Xbox just put a lot of pressure on them, especially in development. They went through about a minimum of 4 different story, different writers in Halo 5's development.
Damn.
So even though they had like an already kind of pre-planned story for the game, it was like, no, we need to change it. We need to get Master Chief out of the, you know, spotlight. We need to change this up. We need to, you know, introduce a new generation of characters to a new generation of players, kind of thing. But you know, Halo fans didn't want that, and neither really did 343 Industries. So that's why we got such a mixed match of the Xbox marketing for the game, and then the game being something completely different.
So you're saying it was essentially Xbox that kind of pushed to have Locke, the quote main character,
Xbox
right?
wanted Chief gone.
Damn.
Yeah, Xbox wanted Chief gone completely.
Oh.
If it was up to Xbox, there wouldn't have even been 3 missions in Halo 5 for Master Chief. It would have just been all Locke.
What was the decision making for that? Like, why get rid of...
Because Master Chief is getting kind of difficult to market just because of how old a character he is, and he doesn't really have a face.
Mm-hmm.
With Locke, I forget what the actor's name is, but
he was Luke Cage.
Yeah, Luke Cage. He was in something else too. Shit, I started talking.
He is a good actor.
He is not in Halo 5. He isn't, but he is in general.
It's also like a military rated M game. It's hard to sell that to kids without it being kind of weird. 5 really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 is the first Halo game that isn't rated M.
I mean, of all the things, it's like Halo was never really pushing that the rating scaling. If anything, it was almost giving rated M out of courtesy, like the previous game.
It was really only because it had blood.
Things are a lot more lax now, anyway. So, you can get away with a lot more being in games and films these days than you would have 10 years ago. So.
Oh yeah, so much more. I mean,
well, it's also with GTA 5, pretty deservedly has a rated M rating, right?
Yes.
It's kind of hard to put that with the same level as even Halo 4, which was rated M. Where the worst thing that really happens in Halo 4 is that there's blood in it. You know, there's nothing.
I know the disintegration scene was pretty horrific. But
it's pretty neat, I guess. It's not gory. It's it's I don't know. There's just people flash into light and disappear. It's not like they get waterboarded and tortured and all that shit.
Go back and watch the Dr. Hilson disintegration scene, and you'll
never mind. Yeah, because she goes from skin to muscle to bone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That scene is horrific. Like that is not a nice scene. Like that scene alone is probably where the M rated came from.
From that one scene.
Probably.
Wait, are you talking about Halo 5 stuff?
Halo 4, Halo 4 rating. Why it was rated M? Because because of that one scene of the Doctor's skin getting just peeled off. Ooh.
Yeah, and probably before that because of the flood, which weren't present in Halo 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right.
Right. There was a lot of gore, quote unquote gore, in Halo 3 because of the flood and body parts everywhere.
Or also you see a dude, like the first time you see Flood in that game, you see a dude like... oh no, never mind. It's like the first Marine you see in Floodgate. You're walking up to the door and then he floodifies like in front of you.
Yeah, that was sad. No way to save him.
You can shoot him before he turns.
So, going back to Halo Infinite stuff, gentlemen.
What? That's what we're talking about?
We're talking about that? Yeah, that's square.
So we know that from Halo 5, Cortana staged like an AI uprising, right? And just feel free to just cut in and let me know if I'm wrong or anything. Cortana did like a little AI uprising, planned to use the Guardians, the big owls, to achieve galactic peace through forcible disarmament. And essentially she became, just that evil ex-girlfriend to Chief. Okay. And last we saw, as I understand, of Chief was when he, Arbiter, Dr. and the Locke, fuck, why am I saying the Locke? Just
Dr. Halsey.
Yes, Dr. Halsey and the new Spartan dude that no one cares about. Get into
Spartan
a Pelican. Locke. Yeah, Spartan Locke.
Or Agent Locke.
Get into a Pelican and just fly away. And then after that, we see in the legendary ending just a lush green world with an orbiting Halo installation overhead. So what do you guys think happened between then and the trailer we just watched? Oh, what's up, Andrew? Good to see you. Late entry, but this is Andrew, a huge Xbox and Microsoft nerd. Say hi. Yes.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
But yeah, what do you guys think? What happened since then?
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a few books out that explain that, but
it's always the
that's what I was going to mention, was that, I guess in the meantime, Cortana gets into some shenanigans with the domain and the, what is it, the primordial? Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's like, it's a lot of stuff that is kind of over the head of people who don't read the books and have only played the games. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to resolve that with Infinite.
Hopefully an in-game shot of the primordial, because that would be the fucking best thing ever. Like, please.
And maybe like a little breakdown of like all the books so far.
Just throw in all the characters everyone wants. Bring back for free. Guilty Spartan.
Put a terminal there.
Oh man.
At the opening of the game.
Mannequin bias, offensive bias, just chuck them all in the same game. Just let's go.
Spoiler alert, Guilty Spark is still alive if you read some of the comics.
What the heck? Oof.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, basically what ended up happening was he got recovered by an Office of Naval Intelligence ship, and he was brought back online, and they're trying to ask him questions regarding more Forerunner stuff, and then in the entire process that he was being questioned, he silently took over the human ship's AI and controls, and basically put everyone back to sleep in a ship, and then just took command of it and started searching for a librarian.
Oh, I think I read about that. I didn't read the actual book, but I read that on the wiki.
That could probably be their hook.
Yeah, and you would know it was actually 343 Guilty Spark, because in the beginning of this book, it's the one where it talks about the Forerunner past and about the original Didact, the good one, not the one you had to kill in Halo 4, because there were two of them. And I'm sorry. I think the one that you killed in Halo 4 was the original Didact, and there's like a second Didact who was nicer. But anyways, we talked about his story, and at the end, after like he answered all the agents' questions, and everyone went to sleep, he basically took control of the ship and left looking for the librarian, saying, I'm going to come back to see my favorite Forerunner or something like that, and that was the librarian, and only one AI would ever say that, and that would be 343 Guilty Spark.
Oh, that's a good little implication they have. So it's unconfirmed, but it's still like very highly implied, very strongly implied.
Yes. Oh yeah. I think all monitors technically were still alive. We just didn't know whatever happened to 2401 Penitent Tangent, because he was held by the Flood in Halo 2, and you never heard from him ever again.
Interesting. So other than that, like, what do you guys think is gonna be the story of Halo Infinite then? Like, just throw out this theory craft at this point. Just what are you guys thinking?
I mean, I hear it's like a spiritual reboot. They're like kind of trying to get back to the core of things. So I imagine they're kind of whittle down on some of the lore and just focus on one like clear bad guy, which I still think will be Cortana to some extent, and maybe some other Forerunner character.
Well, if they're really wanting to do a soft reboot, they like the Cortana could be like a whole misdirect. Like you could be done with that like halfway through the story.
That's true.
And be dealing with the Flood again, maybe, if you really wanted to do like a soft reboot and really wanted to bring back the core elements of Halo, you kind of have to include the Flood in some form.
Mm-hmm. And they have come back essentially in the Halo Wars games, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, the Flood are gonna be on Zeta Halo. I mean, they kind of have to be with the amount of with the amount they stored there, first of all, but also just it's a staple to the franchise. So. Mm-hmm. It'd be a shame, really, if they didn't.
I mean, like, Chief, like, the Flood didn't actually die out, right? Sorry for cutting you off, but...
No, the Flood is still alive. Yeah, because what ended up happening is when you activate the Halos, yes, a lot of Flood were killed and contained, but the problem was that they still existed because they kept samples of the Flood in all these facilities, in Forerunner facilities, and they could be in labs, or they could be they're actually on the Halos themselves as well. So they still exist. They're just kept in storage, quote unquote. And you remember Halo 2. You saw what happened when those specimens got out by accident.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think even further, like, excuse me, if I remember correctly, the origin of the Flood, they're actually reanimated Forerunners that like went into. No, I'm making that up.
Oh no! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that. I'm just laughing at the fact that, like, okay, sorry, bad tangent, but I just remember back in the day, my friends and I would make fun of how Halo's Flood were essentially just space zombies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was just
space zombies.
It was just like an excuse to compete with Left 4 Dead for us. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
I think I might be mixing up some lore because so like the Forerunners like put themselves into stasis, and if they went for too long, like they turned into, or like that dust they turned into got, I don't know, expired, got a little fucked. Hey, it's back. And I know the Primordial was basically a result of that, of being not a Forerunner, a precursor. There you go. Yeah, the Flood are precursors. Okay, that's what it was. So the precursors put themselves into stasis. They turned themselves into dust to be reanimated later. And then I guess enough time passes where that dust goes bad. It gets corrupted somehow. And so when they're reanimated, that's the resulting thing is the Flood. And so another kind of source for the Flood could be these precursors that have yet to be reanimated, but there's still like this corrupted dust somewhere that doesn't get killed by the Halo rings.
Okay, so you're pretty much near on point there. Basically, the original Flood, according to the books, were just dusts that you'd get from precursor remains. So yeah, it's literally just like if you were to take a precursor and put them through crematorium and then just basically take the urn. That's basically what it was. And the first people to discover it were humans, actually, the ancient human empire, the one that rivaled the Forerunners back in the old days before the Halo rings fired. The race of the prophets used them they used the powder to basically treat their pets, because it made them it made them more domesticated. So they had these wild animals, I forgot what they're called, but
they were like dogs. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're like dogs, but basically they had this bad tendency to always be disobedient and actually accidentally kill their owners or something ridiculous like that. So they found it's like having a pet tiger. You know, it's like having a pet tiger who is really, really hungry, and some of them actually died because they didn't know how to handle them. But when they found this precursor dust, which was originally the flood, it actually domesticated them in a way where the animals were just left like they were more like cats as opposed to tigers. And eventually they kept using it and didn't know what the consequences were, and then the precursor dust basically mutated into what we all know today as the flood. And then after that, the human empire had to deal with a lot of worlds falling to the flood, and that's why they started the entire human Forerunner war, which was again pre-Halo era, and before even the Forerunners knew about the flood. And that's why the entire war was basically humans running with the flood and taking over Forerunner worlds to have more homes, because all their homes are being invaded by the flood. And then the Forerunners being like, why are these guys attacking us? And then they basically won the war, and then they were basically like, okay, great, war's done, everything's good, right? And then they found the flood, and they're like, holy shit, what the hell is this thing? And then in the end having a Forerunner flood war, and then after that ending up creating Halo, and then basically destroying all life with Halo to start flood, because they were also being killed off by the flood.
But do remember that the precursors turned into flood because they were supposed to regenerate back into their forms when they were dead, but there was a corruption when they were coming back, so they started having these mutations. The thing that I found interesting with the new books is that they actually embraced the corruption as kind of a revenge against the Forerunners. They consciously embraced the idea of becoming what they are. Well, what they became to be, the flood, yeah. So in a way, it's kind of a revenge.
Yeah,
it's not just a mindless animal.
Hated the precursors because the precursors chose ancient humans to take up the mantle rather than the Forerunners. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, we should probably go into that story, because in the beginning, before everything happened, you have the precursors, and we don't really know too much about what the precursors look like. Like, the only precursor that was ever mentioned to quote unquote be alive was the primordial, and arguably the primordial was technically a grave mine. So I'm not sure. I need to look back into this lore, because this is like a long time ago when I first read it.
I'm on Wikipedia right now.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so feel free to correct me on this then. But basically, so you have the precursors. Well, no, this part I think I remember properly. But it was like, you have the precursors originally, and they were the ones who originally ruled the universe. They created the Forerunners and the humans, and there was a time where they were trying to decide who to pass on the mantle to, and the mantle is this directive,
Guardian of the universe kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, who will protect all life, and then they're trying to figure out who was better for it, right? And then they realized, the humans would be a perfect fit because they're way more adaptable than the Forerunners ever were, and the Forerunners got pissed, and they eventually just basically had this silent war with humanity, even though they really weren't in a full-blown war yet. It's kind of like Cold War. It's like if you have the US and Russia fighting for something, and Russia gets pissed off because the US was picked to do something as opposed to Russia. And
I was gonna compare it more to like parents giving the will, or giving their inheritance to the second son instead of like the first child. and the two
stepson.
Yeah. And the two children are just like getting mad at each other, just like, I don't like you either. They're just like passively aggressive to one another. Like, hey, can you go pick up your brother from school? And then like the real son's like, sure, I'll go do that. And stepson's like, Mom, like Josh hasn't picked me up in like 5 hours. What's going on?
It's actually a better example. So yes, you're actually right about that. So yeah, they basically pick humanity. You have the mantle, Forerunners.
Oh, but this is old humanity. You forgot to mention, right? Like this is not
old humanity. Yes, we're talking about in the beginning of time before time. Everything is just like precursor shit. Precursors were basically the ruling race of the world, and everything was like tier 0 technology, where it basically just blew your mind. It's like they're basically bio-organic ships that or something to do with technology being like together with biology. I'm actually don't quote me on that. Actually, I don't remember this part too much. But
technology, lols.
Yeah, it's like if I remember properly, every technology in the precursor world was basically linked up with biology. So
neural link, right? The things that
yeah, something like neural links and just everything. Basically, technology and life were basically one together. They were like crazy smart and crazy technologically advanced, way more advanced than the Foreigner were.
Way more, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why they were called the tier 0. Like tier 1 has always been is it tier, actually I forgot what tier 0 tier 1, but basically in the tiering system tier highest
tier 1 is the world builders. So
there you go.
Tier 1 would be let's see here, would be basically things like the precursors. The Forerunners being able to build Halo rings and all that. And then the tier 0 is Transcendience, which are the precursors having the ability to evolve life and to slip space travel basically on their own.
Yeah, so literally they melded technology with themselves. They were like crazy smart and cool.
Yeah, that was a double-edged sword actually, because when the Flood, I think the Flood combined themselves with Neuralink, so they could use that against the Forerunners. That's why the Forerunners got absolutely trashed when they were fighting the Flood, because the Flood was using the technology of the precursors. So basically, like they have if I remember right, they have gigantic bridges between planets that they could basically spawn, and they use those to destroy like entire armadas. It was absolutely insane. That was a super-edged double-edged sword on the living creatures. Really, the Flow were taking advantage of everything else, pretty much everything precursor they were taking advantage of, because they were connected to the Neuralink, which we already talked previously. So yeah, they were absolutely OP.
Well, the Flood have always been crazy good at this, solely because when they invade a host, they actually get the host's memory and every knowledge of everything they've ever done. So basically, yeah, they take one Forerunner, basically everything about the Forerunner to the Flood is immediately known, and then they basically use Forerunner tech against Forerunner tech. So it's always been the case that the Flood have always been a double-edged sword, because they just knew how to use everything, including precursor tech.
And despite how OP they were taken out by Chief, who we should keep talking about because he's in Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Is he?
confirm
or something?
So in Halo Infinite, right? Like we're probably gonna be covering more of Chief's story. Like, what do you guys think about that? What do you want to see about Chief's story? Like, how do you want to see the humanized Chief? You know, like what do you guys expect to see?
I don't want him to humanize him. I don't want to. He should stay like he always been, Master Chief. And I think that's what we should
I
stay.
disagree, because I like disagreeing with Ashes. But no.
Oh wow.
No, actually, I think
He's my cousin. He's allowed to do that.
yeah. So I actually think it'd be interesting if they don't necessarily. More actually agreeing with you in that they shouldn't go too far in that way. But maybe have Brohammer be kind of the things that prod it a little bit, but bring it out into some like lighter degree. They should never be the focus. It'd be kind of like the icing on the cake of the game. It's like always a bit of a tiny aspect of what we see as a development, but I don't want to see Chief like, settle down. I feel like that's weird, not the character.
Well, I don't know, because I think the reason you don't want to see Chief, at least for me, the reason I guess see Chief's like story developed is that I never got the feeling he had any kind of motivation to do anything. Like he was always this cog in the UNSC. It would be interesting in this game if they develop that part, like from the core, give him a character. And I felt that's what was missing from Halo 4 and Halo 5 is that they kind of skip that part and they go into having this character pursue goals, even though, at least to me, didn't feel like he had a personal like investment or motivation to do any of those things.
Like, I feel like it could work in that his goals are now, like, I think the way I would present the humanization is him doing nice things for Brohammer. Like, you see he clearly cares for people, but actually having a emotional reward come out of Brohammer and him being, like, almost the extension of Chief's humanity. But yeah, I don't see him having a very strong, like, he is kind of like this weird robot man, and I think that's kind of like as far as it should go, but the people around him could help take some of that humanity out.
I mean, as part of him being... sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's really interesting about, like, hearing you guys say that, like, he kind of went from not having his own goals to having his own goals, because I think that's not really necessarily true. I think his goal has always been the same in every Halo game, which is to protect humanity, right? So in Halo 4 and 5, he didn't really do anything selfishly. It wasn't really his own goals. He always kind of wanted to protect humanity. I mean, you can kind of view Halo 4 as, he wanted Cortana back, but he already knew Cortana was going through rampancy, right? At the beginning of Halo 4, he witnessed it. Right. And he also got told it and clarified it by Cortana. So for him to kind of go out of his way to try and stop Cortana in Halo 5, maybe that's just me who's seeing it as he knows what's already happening and he's trying to stop it for the sake of everyone else, rather than him just trying to find Cortana. But I think his goal's always been kind of to protect. I mean, we get the line at the end of Halo 5, Halo 4, to protect humanity, whatever the cost. So, I mean, I've never really seen it as him kind of not having goals or having goals, because he's always just been the guy who's gonna save the universe kind of vibe.
He's like the Captain America of, I guess, the Halo universe. I'm trying to think of he's like, he has one goal, and it's like to do the right thing and to save humanity.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like one of the reasons why Cortana tried to take Blue Team with her in Halo 5's ending, was because she knows the Chief is the only one capable of stopping her. So it's a really interesting thing to kind of to see people think that it might go a different way, because we all know Chief's gonna kick ass and chew bubblegum in Halo Infinite, regardless of where it takes him. He's always gonna be the guy who does what's right. So,
so do you think?
I guess to me, it never felt like a personal decision by Chief at any point. I guess because it been the case, maybe. But I've always kind of felt that it was never. It doesn't, at least for me, it doesn't give a lot of opportunity for growth as a character if that is your goal from, page 1 to page, end of the book.
But I mean, to be fair, like, does Chief need personal character growth when you have, when you have characters like Brohammer or the Sergeant, who's going to be, the side characters who will give humanization to the entire story?
I don't think he needs to, but if you're going to, at least for me, if you're going to develop his character, that's like the one thing I would want is to develop that part of it. I'm not saying that I necessarily want Master Chief's character to be developed any further than it is.
I think it's like how you deliver the message. Like, if you can go about it, but really focus on other people, and Chief is there with his goals of, saving people and doing the right thing. the way he presents it, I think, is going to be important, and they can get that. There is still resolution, I guess, from a personal level for Chief. Like him and Cortana is like a big thing, but I feel like that. What I think I like about Infinite is it's going back to that core idea of just saving humanity. That feeling when I was playing Halo 2, 3, and ODST of like humanity's at its a desperate position, and you as Chief are going to survive and get through whatever threat is out there.
So about that, yeah, what do you guys think is the current threat right now? Like, what has happened in that time skip? You know, like, so we know we're gonna be playing on a new Halo ring, right? Like, that's a setting for Halo Infinite. Well, what do you guys think has happened in that time skip?
I don't know, but like what? So I totally forgot what happened to the Covenant after Halo 5.
The Covenant are gone. The Covenant are fully gone.
Like
the
gone?
Covenant. At Halo 5, you wipe out. You actually participate in the battle of the last Covenant stronghold, so they're pretty much just gone. That was their last city. What was it called?
Sinayon.
Oh, Sinayon.
Yeah, I was about to say Sundari, and I was like, oh wait, that's Star Wars. No, but anyway, anyways, but the last Covenant stronghold is the last one you invade in Halo 5, trying to get to the Guardian of St. Helios, because literally the Guardian of St. Helios was underneath Sinayon. So you help the Arbiter take out the last of the Covenant, and now they're dead. Like literally, the last scene if you play Halo 5 and you basically get onto the Guardian to find Master Chief because you finally boarded it, you see Arbiter just executing every last Covenant soldier who refuses to surrender, and they were like cheering in the air, saying, "This is the end of the Covenant!" Ha!
Well, so the reason I asked that is if the Halo rings are making like comeback as being part of the core story, who is going to be like the main players in that conflict? Because the Cortana and all of them are inorganic. They're affected by the Halo rings. But then I don't know what reason the humans would have to even use it in the first place.
Sorry, good.
Go on. No, I was just gonna say, well, we've already mentioned that the Flood are probably gonna come back, right? So that's the reason in itself for using a Halo ring at all, is the Flood. In terms of a replacement for the Covenant, the Banished are definitely gonna.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. So I actually want to talk about that because the Banished are the group mentioned in Halo Wars 2. So how do you think they're gonna introduce them? You know, like, are they gonna be like, we expect you to already know Halo Wars 2, or like, what do you guys think about that?
Okay, so for the Banished. Definitely needs to be introduced in the game, or else we'll have another Blue Team incident where it's like, oh shit, I can't believe they just left everything to the books or a different game to basically explain who these guys are. But let's talk about who the Banished are first. They're basically a splinter sect of the Covenant, who kind of like deviated from the original Covenant like ideology, because they just had a different way of how they wanted to use foreign technology, and it's a more violent way of basically doing it. And they finally found the Ark, and they invaded the Ark after the portal, after Cortana's takeover. So every like human crew in the Ark were basically just like either wiped out or captured or whatnot, and that was basically the start of Halo Wars 2, where you, as part of the UNSC Spirit of Fire, discovered the Ark and basically just try to take it back from them because they're the new threat. In how they will be introduced to Halo 5.
You mean Halo Infinite?
Spoiler.
Infinite.
Halo Infinite. I know, sorry. Halo Infinite. Halo 6.
Halo 6.
Yeah, Halo 6. Yeah, well, come on. It's supposed to be the end of the trilogy, so it's like, it has to be something. But anyway, we're going on a tangent. So going back to quickly explain this, it's at the end of Halo Wars 2. Spoiler alert! You basically quote unquote beat the Banished in the game, because they tried to take over a newly formed Halo ring. Just like, okay, so you know how the Ark makes Halo rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
they basically the humans in Halo Wars 2 managed to basically launch a new Halo and have its slipspace travel into human-controlled space, so they can call for help, because they thought that the UNSC didn't know that the Ark was taken over. So they launched a new Halo ring, and the Banished basically tried to take control of the Halo ring, because it's their property. To them, it's their property. They want the ring, so they send them like a huge amount of forces to deal with like taking back control, and they could just be left. They could just be left on the ring, like while it was being teleported into space. So maybe the Halo we see in Halo Infinite is actually the same Halo that was launched from Halo Wars 2.
Oh.
We never knew where it went. The last legendary ending actually shows the newly made Halo ring going through slipspace and all of a sudden stopping early. And there's like one human on board, and that's Professor Anderson, who was the main doctor. It's like their version of Dr. Halsey in Halo Wars 2. She actually stayed in the ring to help call for help, and she was surprised that the Halo stopped slipspace way early. And then the last thing she saw when she was trying to investigate was a Guardian like staring down upon her. So it could very well be the Halo ring that was shown in the Infinite trailer and all.
Okay, so that's interesting. That would be really cool.
Because then you'll be combining a story of Halo Wars 2, and if you want Covenant, they might bring the Banished if any of them are still on the ring, because they were trying to take it back, right? And then if we're looking for Flood, there's definitely going to be Flood on there, because in Halo Wars 2, there's a Flood infestation like happening as well. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So like what Jordan says is going to cover the Flood and bring in the Banished.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you recall from Halo 3, High Charity was infected, right? And it crashed onto Halo. They brought back High Charity in Halo Wars 2, because the main baddies of Halo Wars 2 needed more weapons, and they're like, alright, let's see if we can look around the containment area of High Charity to see if we can get more Covenant weapons and use them against a war against the humans. And two of the generals of Atriox, who was the leader of the Banished, basically were idiots, and they were like, screw it, why are we so scared? There's nothing scary about whatever like happened to High Charity. So they basically broke containment, and the Flood, started infecting all their troops, and they basically, they caused the Flood infestation, and then they managed to seal it back up, with Atriox being furious at them for basically like getting a lot of their troops like murdered and transformed into more Flood. So it was an interesting side story. But yeah, the Flood were existent on the Ark, and they were definitely, they were going to introduce it on the ring, so they're going to be in those facilities, like I said, because they always had labs to study the Flood. So it could just be in one of those labs, and they escape containment, or it was because of the infection that happened during Halo Wars, and pretty much it's just gonna be there if they want it to be there.
So it just kind of sounds like we're gonna have a multi-way battle between humanity, the Flood, the what are they called?
Cortana's.
Yes, Cortana's group. Yes, the
created.
the created.
Yeah.
Oh. Cortana's Guardian.
And also
and the Banished. Yeah.
the AI.
Yeah.
Cortana's created. Yeah.
So
is it the same as? Sorry, go on.
I was just going to mention that, like, if they're going to start bringing in maybe characters from Halo Wars 2, do you think we'll see like the smart AIs that were there that probably haven't been touched by Cortana's conflict?
We do know that there is at least one AI who is still loyal to humanity, Roland, who's on the USS committee. Yeah.
Roland, but there's Isabel, and I think there's another.
Isabel is Serena's dead.
Rip.
She killed herself because of the 7-year AI policy, because UNSC, literally the beginning of Halo Wars 2 was a monologue from Serena saying that it was a pleasure to serve the Spirit of Fire, but I must proceed with final dispensation. Basically meaning that she committed suicide. Like, an AI can commit suicide. So basically, she followed UNSC protocol, which was strict. Upon the end of a 7-year lifespan, the AI must initiate a self-destruct protocol. That's why Isabel is a new one. And Isabel, basically, we don't know what will happen to Isabel because Roland already made his choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was already contacted by Cortana's group, and he declined.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was still loyal to humanity. And for Isabel, I don't know if she ever got the memo, because she was already dealing with the Banished by the time that
Cortana's card came out. Yeah.
Message came up like not system-wide, galaxy-wide. So it's entirely possible that we might have like a little. What's this type? It's like it's not a climax, but basically it's like you might have this like turning point. There we go, where she might turn against you, or misguidedly or something. So it's an interesting thing to consider, especially if it also affects Roland.
I do like the fact that everything's going back into a multi-faction like battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's I guess I always thought that what's the name of not the Prometheans, the robot guys from Halo 4. They were presented in Halo 4. I forgot just their name.
The Prometheans?
Oh, so the Prometheans. It always feel a little off and weird to fight, and I guess seeing more AI enemies.
You got cut off, I think.
Just talking about Prometheans, and I was a little, I guess, underwhelmed when they were introduced, and the fact they were still moving towards more AI, I guess, antagonists that's the direction I feel that things are moving. Part of me that's a little bummed out. I always enjoy the Covenant, like that weird trinity of humans, Covenant, and Flood. I guess. What are you guys' thoughts on having that become I guess, going back into something similar like that, or going back into a multi-faction conflict?
Right, as opposed to just a one-on-one kind of conflict that we've had recently, right?
I think that was my favorite thing about Halo 3 is where the level in the Covenant where the Flood turn and fight with you for the one level, because they realize that if they don't, that's kind of the end of the story there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of cool like avenues that that story could take if they because I think in total we counted around 3 or 4 factions maybe.
Yeah,
that could
about
probably
4
make
or
an appearance
5
in this game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm all about it.
It'll be interesting to see what unlikely partnerships arise from some of the situations in Halo Infinite.
Yeah, because that's what happens.
If the Flood
right?
do get reintroduced, and we could see UNSC partnering with the Banished, we could see the Created partnering with the UNSC. Like the Flood, literally can make partners out of anyone. So if they're reintroduced, it will be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, absolutely.
So, before we moved on to gameplay, we spent a good chunk amount of time on story, but before we move on to gameplay, let me just ask you guys, who has any out there theories of how Halo Infinite is gonna end? Who's gonna call it? Who's gonna give any just shout out calls just to see if you're gonna be right?
Right, I think.
Go ahead.
Jordan, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that the whole idea of kind of a start and end is going to be very different for Halo Infinite, I think. Typically with a Halo game, we've kind of had a 12-mission campaign and that's been it. I think Halo Infinite is going to be more Destiny-style campaign where it's a very long-running and ever-changing storyline, which will allow various factions and stuff to get introduced as time progresses, rather than just a set amount of missions and that's it.
Really? So it's going to be more live service type?
That's what I think it's going to be, especially looking at how the Slip Space engine has been made and kind of some of the hints from that. So in that regard, I really, I think it's going to be something that we've not seen before in terms of Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Would that imply massive multiplayer is what you're thinking? Something where everybody's present in the world playing together?
I don't think they'd do that. I think they'd keep the multiplayer separate just because Halo and what Halo is and the multiplayer that Halo is known for is very different. And I think they'd want to preserve that. But in terms of like the campaign style, I definitely think it would be something more Destiny-like.
So
Like
some
seasons or raids added.
where they give you episodes
so, like,
of like updated
Maybe
story,
like
right?
every
Well,
6 months they'll bring out like some massive like update or something like that. Maybe that's just a theory, but
Yeah, they'll bring back the same thing they did for Halo 4, where they just had additional stories, which I thought was pretty cool. Spartan Ops had a
Spartan Ops was
really
great.
awesome story.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was an odd implementation, but I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it works. It definitely works.
I was gonna say, I don't know that it's like really difficult to predict how the story will go because we have no idea what the gameplay will be like, and like B-chan, you wanted us to make like some wild predictions, but it's like so impossible to foresee something like that.
There's like very little info out there.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
the
say-
game by design might not allow for a lot of that stuff to happen.
okay, I'll give a game prediction. Right, Master Chief's little Cortana chip, right, is actually for capturing an AI, not for an AI chip like it's known previously in games. So Master Chief captures Cortana, right, and then Cortana is disposed of. That's something that I can definitely see happening. But
Aww.
will Dr. Halsey make a new Cortana, or will she use one of the remaining Flash clone brains to make a new AI for Chief? Who knows? That'd be really cool. I could definitely see Chief getting a new AI for the remainder of the Halo franchise, but I don't think that'd go down well with fans. So
No,
I can,
that wouldn't.
I can see them kind of scrapping AIs altogether in terms of companions, just because they've now established them as enemies. I wouldn't be
Ooh.
surprised if Cortana's just like, I'm gonna wipe out all the remaining AIs too if you take me out, kind of thing. That'd be really cool. So we'll see.
Dang.
That's just
That would be
that's just
cool.
a prediction because you wanted one.
I
That's
like
not
it.
what I think's gonna happen.
I like that
but that's
prediction.
one that I'm gonna throw out there.
I'm hoping that we get to play as Arbiter again.
Hey.
He's a fan favorite, and I'm hoping the last mission I get an Arbiter mission where he's you're fighting with him or something.
Bro, he's retired now. He's like hung up his cape. He's like
He's not exactly retired, but sure.
He's like Kobe, dude. You can't just ask him to come back into play. Shit.
I mean,
Yeah,
same could be said for
expensive
Master
keep
Chief. How
David
old
is,
is
like-
John now?
He's like his like late 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his actual age, like not even biological, but his chronological
No,
age is like
didn't
close
he
to
get an
90.
upgrade? Evolutionary upgrade from the Liverian?
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. But what
Yeah,
is
time doesn't matter for Chief. Just even thinking like time wise and thinking about the franchise, like how much they're gonna use this series. I don't think his age matters at all. And
He's
then
also- he's
in the lore, when he
46,
got
he's not
the
that old.
even if he was older, he got the evolutionary virus, which I'm not even sure what it does, but I'm pretty sure living longer.
Evolutionary virus. I think that's from Fallout, dude.
I mean, evolutionary
Upgrade.
evolutionary
He got
thing.
that
Upgrade,
upgrade
whatever you wanna
from the
call it.
librarian.
Yeah, he got that upgrade.
We're
So
starting a new
do we
podcast
know
talking
what?
about
Do we know what we get? What he does with the?
I mean, he
upgrade?
can't be like turned into. He
can't be
He can't be composed. He can't be composed.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that was kind of meant to lean into more in the future of the Halo games, but we know how well the story development went with Halo 5, so I'm guessing it's just kind of
They might ignore that a bit.
yeah. I think it was a piece of lore that was kind of set up.
They're gonna do something with it in the future.
They might, but if they do, I don't think they know what yet,
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't really given any information on what it did apart from make him not able to be composed. So
Yeah, from what I'm reading, that's really all the explanation they go into. It was the motivating factor was him to fight the Dyke.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, that's kind of it.
If only we had more info.
Okay.
But
Yeah, maybe it won't be implemented, but hey,
we can hope,
it's a
right?
good, it's
Well,
a good plot point to make him live longer.
Well, Cortana could still be using the composers.
She could.
Possible.
If she's
I
like
don't know why
taking
she.
over
I don't know why she
Whartan
would,
stuff.
but yeah.
But yeah, so into the gameplay development aspect of Halo Infinite. There was no gameplay shown at E3 2019. Jordan, you want to speak about that?
there was no
Section of the-
gameplay.
That was mad.
What? Crazy! Who would ever predicted there wouldn't be gameplay? So, first of all, if you're disappointed by gameplay not being shown at E3 2019, you deserve to be, because I don't know why you're expecting it in the first place. But yeah, no gameplay shown. Pretty standard stuff when we've still got a year and a half for release. Gameplay is typically shown the same year as release when it comes to E3, with Halo 2 being the exception.
And you called it, right? You called it since 2018.
I called it since last year, yeah. Yeah, it's not a shock. It's gonna be next year. We'll probably get campaign.
But yeah,
I'm pretty happy they're keeping it under wraps, and I'm kind of surprised they showed as much as they did so early.
We'll see gameplay before next year, but next year will be the first time we see gameplay at E3, if that makes sense. Because they're obviously going to be doing an insider program for Halo Infinite, and they want to try and launch that as soon as they can. It's most likely going to get announced at the November Xbox event in London.
Oh, and are you going to be there for that?
Yeah, I probably will be.
Hey.
But yeah, it's the right time for them to reveal the insider program gameplay. So I'm pretty confident they're gonna show it there first.
Oh, are you talking about this November or next year November?
Yeah, this November. Yeah.
Ooh,
This
shit.
November.
Oh,
Nice.
shit. Okay. So
Because you look at the timescale, betas are often released, like, especially the older Halo games, it was like a year before the game was due out, right? And if we're assuming we're not assuming it's holiday 2020 for Halo Infinite, right?
Yeah.
So November for first gameplay for the Insider program to get released would be like exactly when I expect it to. Yeah, it just lines up. It's just right timing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see the gameplay, especially the fact that, well, game's gonna be released on PC. That's also gonna be cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys think?
And it's the first Halo game to be over multiple Xbox generations as well.
That's true, huh? That's right. It's gonna be on Xbox One and on Project Scarlet. Oh, that is different. That's different from before.
There's going to be a lot of Halo fans, which is good. That's what we need, because I can't even get a game on Halo 5 at the moment, so it'd be nice to get a game on Halo Infinite.
There's also gonna be a 4-player couch split screen, so that's making a return. That's making.
Oh yeah, that's
Halo.
Wait, I don't know. I didn't play Halo 5 multiplayer, so like, was that even the thing? 4-player.
No, it's not Halo 5 at all. No.
Oh fuck. Okay, so they're bringing back the couch play, so people can actually.
They took it out so they could bring it back
in the first place.
Nah, they took it out so they could bring it back as a feature. We know their game. They're like, if we take this out now, we can use it as a selling point for our next game. We're looking at you, Xbox. We know your games. We know.
Just thank God it's not a DLC. Shit.
Don't give them ideas.
Couch multiplayer DLC. Pay full price game. Let's go.
You get the multiplayer for free, but you have to pay to switch weapons.
Oh God.
No, it's $20 per additional screen. So like, if you want four-way split screen, it's like $80.
Oh fuck that.
Oh, you get it for free. It just has a big fat watermark on it. Before you pay for it. Oh, you're playing with unregistered split screen. That's a no-no.
Oh,
maybe we get some ads if you don't pay a fee.
You got one screen just full of ads, just like, what happened to your screen, dude? It's like, I didn't pay for
my multiplayer, just like sweating and ranked, suddenly an ad.
But yeah, so other than that, armor customization is gonna be based on Halo Reach's depth. Y'all excited for that? That's gonna be sick.
I'm hoping we get a armor that has to be unlocked with achievements.
I can see why they got away from that though. Like, achievements were very important and present to the Xbox formula way back when. It's not as present now, so I can see why they probably don't care to attach it to that either. And
I don't think it's as present now because they killed it off though. Like,
you think so?
Xbox One ruined like wanting to gain achievements. Like, that's a console thing, not like I think there's a lot of people who would want achievements back. I think Xbox One is just not made well for displaying them.
Yeah, especially when it launched, like they really made achievements not fun, and they were just straight up weren't functional when the
Xbox One launch as a whole was not fun or functional.
I mean, everything was like that, but it was just like the way they implemented achievements was like the same thing they implemented everything else, which it was an app that ran parallel to the game. It wasn't like an overlay. And so you earned an achievement, and then if you wanted to see what it was, you had to tab out of your game, snap the achievement app to the side, have it load. Sometimes it wouldn't, and then and then it also was not up to date on the achievements you were getting. And so I think, yeah, like you said, that I'm pretty sure that's what killed it off.
You guys are making the Xbox One sound like it was a mistake or something.
It wasn't a mistake. It just had like such a botched launch. I mean, if you play it now, it's a pretty decent console.
Needs to like GTFO.
Oh, Matrick, yeah. I don't want to say it's his fault, but he did a lot of wrong things.
Well, I mean, he's the guy who had to be the face of basically Xbox's missteps. Like, I can't imagine he was on the board making the decisions, but he was the face talking to the audience, like basically breaking the bad news to them.
Yeah.
Not Phil's Bay.
But continue on Halo Infinite gameplay. So there's not going to be a battle royale mode. Rip.
What?
I don't know what people make
There are two different reactions you get from Halo fans. You get the wow, you get the yay. There's no in between.
There's always I love the line they use, like the only BR we have is the BR.
It's the battle rifle, yes.
That sounds good to me.
Good old Frank.
Do you think the reason they didn't include it is that that game mode pretty easily overshadows the entirety of the rest of the game, like it did with Fortnite? I mean, Fortnite, it was more because it was the Battle Royale was free, and no one had any interest in paying for the version of the game that they didn't think was as fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine that any part of Halo Infinite will be free, but Battle Royale seems to be the game mode that will probably be longer lived. Well, maybe not.
I like to think they saw the writing on the wall. Like, yeah, this is a trend right now, but going for it at mid-development would just be a mistake. Like,
yeah, you gotta look at how. I was just gonna say how oversaturated it already is, the market, and like, kind of they got enough to do on Halo as it is. Like, Halo's always been a franchise that's offered a lot of stuff in the original package anyways, because it's not just multiplayer or campaign we're talking about, which both already take up a lot of time to develop. You've got Forge and Theater and custom game stuff that all needs its own work put into it as well. I mean, that's already 5. Yeah, so like even 6 different game types already in the game. You don't really want to be putting an extra one in there, because all it's going to do is split up the population and, you know, make things more awkward for the development team anyways, so...
As I put my developer hat on, like, they take forever to make games, and I'm sure, like, they decided the direction they wanted to go into way before Battle Royale was a thing, or maybe right when the trend was taking off. So, trying to, like, kind of follow that and shift into, I guess, what was cool at the moment would be will break their current plans and like the trajectory they're aiming for to like hit the actual release date. I mean, they could probably make it. Go on.
So I was gonna say, I'll be honest. If Halo Infinite came out around the time Battle Royale was popular, there's no doubt it would have included. Like Halo ODST and Halo Reach had Firefight, which was essentially Horde mode from Gears.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Left 4 Dead, like those weren't game types that were really unique to Halo. It's just the game came out at a point where those game types are still relevant.
Well, that was almost standardized.
Yeah, and I think the other reason probably is that Battle Royale is probably not a game type that is easily included in matchmaking as part of like the general hopper.
Right.
Like you know, like Battle Royale games are so massive, like even bigger than Halo's like big team game types. But they're also like not really, I guess, conducive to Halo's like traditional gameplay style. That's the other thing.
It would be a good
to have
feeling.
A chance of being.
Yeah, I think you were gonna touch on that point about like if it feels right to have Battle Royale mode in like the Halo universe.
Yeah, I'm not personally against it. Like to me, Battle Royale, is a game type like any other. But I can see like the development hours for it are probably much longer than something like Capture the Flag or, you know, Team Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a thing that you can include into matchmaking as an afterthought.
If anything, the community, if they want it, they will make it be a thing and they'll push for it. I feel like it's more like so they almost have like a fail-safe, like they don't put it and no one plays it because somebody wants it, or people make their own modes and you just make it a standard and like a feature update.
So speaking of making their own modes, that's right, Forge is making a return in Halo Infinite. And goddamn, I wish Dom were here to talk about that because I know he loves the shit out of Forge. Shit.
So making a return, was it not in Halo 5? I only played Halo 5 campaign like free on Xbox.
Is it in Halo 5? Yeah, okay. There's even Forge on Halo 5 is on PC as well.
Oh.
But it's there's no reason that people couldn't actually just make it in Halo 5 because the Forge is that advanced now that it's actually too advanced. People aren't really interested in using it anymore unless they're people who are willing to put 50 hours a week into it, because it's literally so complicated that it will take you hours to learn how to use it.
It's basically a sub-game engine inside of Halo. Yeah.
Wait, was Forge in 5
I gave up on Forge one day.
Lols.
I don't know if it was. I think it must have been. I don't think it was available for to PC for a long time.
Yeah, it took a couple of months if I remember right.
But I gave up on Forge when they introduced logic gates. I'm like, nah, I'm done with this.
Logic
building
gates?
like Legos. Yeah. They included logic gates. I remember the first thing they did it with. I believe it was with the teleporters. And then in Halo 5. Yeah, they went kind of nuts with it. Like, I no layperson could pick up Halo 5's Forge mode.
But the other stuff we have from gameplay/dev news is that there will be no surprise mechanics, aka loot boxes.
Really? That shouldn't be a surprise.
There will be microtransactions, but no loot boxes.
I'm wondering what the microtransaction would be.
It's probably going to be similar to so like how they have the team skins in the store currently for Halo 5. It's probably just going to be something like that, like sponsorship skins or something like that. Like if you want to support your team, you can buy the skin.
So that seems kind of out of line with them saying the armor customization will be in line with Halo Reach's thing. I imagine that means kind of in part.
I mean, like, if it's Reach's level of customization, imagine if, like, every single armor has some sort of piece you can buy for it. Imagine if you've got, like, what's a Halo team? Like a Tox, I don't know, shoulder piece or something. Like, imagine if that's a thing.
Custom card piece.
Yeah, like, this is an example. Like, imagine if that's, like, a thing. Which it very much so could be, because it's not a surprise mechanic, because you know what you're buying, right? Yeah, I can see that being a thing.
Yeah, and I don't hate it. You know, it's fine.
I'd buy everything because I'm a completionist. Rip my bank account.
A slut for Halo.
I am. I'm a dirty hoe for Halo.
So, just to get through the rest of the podcast, we're nearing our end time here. Art style.
We didn't even touch on the points. Damn.
I'm trying to get through it. I'm doing my best. On the art style, yeah, you just mentioned this, Jordan, but cod piece. What do you guys think about?
I didn't mention the cod piece. Well, I didn't mention the cod piece.
I think someone else said custom cod piece.
Well, the cod piece is making a return.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The Master Chief cod piece.
Ooh. Bring back the Halo 4 cod piece.
The little...
Just knock off 5 points to the scale. Just like, no. Wrong cod piece.
No, but yeah, what do you guys think of, the Halo 5 armor style and sorry, not Halo Infinite. Fuck. Halo Infinite art style and the new armor style.
Too many Halos.
I'm glad to see the return of the familiar art style. In general, I didn't love the style of Halo 4 and Halo 5. I think I've mentioned already. But as far as gameplay, it also made things kind of difficult to parse, especially with Halo 4 and 5 being much faster games than Halo 3 and Halo Reach were. In particular, the Prometheans were impossible to tell apart, and especially with a lot of the settings being Forerunner settings, the color palette was identical across the environment and characters and weapons, and so it looks like at least bringing back some of the kind of saturated, really colorful palette from the older games is going to be like a good touch for one, like smoothing out some of the gameplay issues that at least I had. But also making the game feel, I don't know, a little warmer and a little at least more
inviting.
I was gonna say like more explorable, like more interesting. Like when you see interesting shit in the background, you know, you want to go and look at it.
Yeah.
You want to go and see what it looks like up close.
Sparks curiosity.
And at least with everything being Forerunner, and I guess the Forerunner thing isn't something that is unique to to Halo 4's art style, but it was just that everything kind of melded and kind of looked uniform in those.
It's like the Transformers
styles.
issue, like the Michael Bay Transformer designs, where they're all kind of meshes of metal.
Yeah, it's like the difference between. I don't know if you watched Bumblebee.
No, but I can tell the difference between like the designs of the robots in that movie compared to the ones in like the earlier Michael Bay films.
Right, I think that's a pretty good comparison actually of, you know, the first Transformers movie going to Bumblebee, where in the first Transformers it's like when two robots get into a fight and they just look like big rolling piles of garbage. It's like impossible to tell what's happening. But in Bumblebee, every character has like a really clean silhouette and a very particular color palette, and also they don't disintegrate into a million pieces when they transform. You know, it's all like really logical and it makes sense to your eye. And I'm hoping they'll bring some element of that, or some element of that is coming with Halo Infinite.
I mean, it's looking to be, you know, just very clean cut so far with what we've seen, at least from the trailers, right? Just everything looks so crisp and clean in Halo Infinite.
I would say there's an element of stylization, like it's not full on realism.
Yeah.
It's a good mix, right? It's a good mix. There's nice balance, and like that's one thing I like about Infinite so far from what we've seen, is that it's not just a balance between realism and kind of, you know, bit of style. It's like a good balance between classic and modern as well, like Halo styles. Because like the one thing I would have absolutely despised is if it went 100% back to the classic style. Because I don't dislike the classic style, and I don't dislike the modern style. I think each of them do different areas well, and I think like I'm really glad they went with a mishmash for Master Chief's armor.
Yeah.
Because I really don't like Halo 3's armor. I know I just bash Halo 3 all the time. But Halo 4's armor to me was like what Chief should have looked like anyways.
From the beginning, right? Like the whole streamlined kind of almost superhero-ish kind of look, right?
It looked like a walking tank, right? And that's what a Spartan was meant to always be like. So I can I like CE2 and 3 like in their own bubble. But I'm just glad like Infinite is kind of incorporating everything into one place, especially the Forward Unto Dawn style, because that has to be my favourite Halo armor. Master Chief armor is the Forward Unto Dawn armor.
I thought that was okay, except you could see the actor's chin like under the helmet, because the helmet was for him.
Bro, what's wrong with his chin? Leave Master Chief alone, bro.
He's fine. No, he's great.
No one's gonna get close enough to look at it, and like, so it's all good.
Except when the camera, you know, is shorter than the actual Master Chief, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, just look at it now. That's actually like a good life, like in real life kind of armor look too. So I like that. He does look like a tank. God damn, he's an absolute unit.
I think my favorite bit is Halo 4 is at the very end when like he gets his like armor disassembled or whatever, and he's walking by the Spartan doors.
Oh my god!
He's like 2 feet taller than all the other Spartans.
5 minutes ago, I thought you'd be taller. 5 minutes later, literally 2 foot taller than her.
It's great because like you've seen Spartan Palmer by Lasky like the entire game on the Infinity. And she's like giant because she's a Spartan, and then you see Master Chief walk by her, and he's got a full 1.5 feet over her even. That bit was great.
The Halo 4 end scene, like, I loved it so much. Everyone was so triggered by the eyes getting shown though, and I was just like, hell yeah. It wasn't over the top amount, it's just like literally the silhouette of his eyes.
I don't know why they weren't more upset about straight up showing him as a child.
Oh, you mean like in the comics and stuff, or you mean like in the cutscenes?
Like even in the cut, I don't know if it was a cutscene included in the game or if it was just in the trailers, but they straight up show John as just like a little kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The weird thing is, like, he was technically a little kid even when he was a Spartan, right? Because like he got his armor like when he was pretty young. I don't know. I don't know when people would get upset about that because he's, you know, we've seen him as a kid for a very long time from the comics, anyways. So.
I'm saying, like, I didn't understand people getting upset over the eyes. It's like, they've shown way more of Master Chief before.
They changed his eye color though, which really pissed me off. I remember I wrote up an article about that.
Oh really? What happened with that?
Yeah, they went from changing his eye color from brown to blue, and it like ultimately, like, it really pissed me off.
Jordan, what I'm curious. What did you write about it? Like what were your thoughts on that eye color change exactly? Like you hated it, but like what? Yeah, what?
It was a minor change, but it was a big hit to like consistency in the Halo universe, especially when moving from Bungie to 343 Industries. And to me, like, an eye color is still a very important part of a character. I'm pretty sure like if they changed the hair color, it'd be a massive issue as well. So it's like that was how I was looking at it. Is like, how can you just straight up change his eye color and then not address it? It was more the fact that he didn't address it that kind of was an issue for me, because it was just like the change in law without kind of making people aware the change in law. Because if he's got brown eyes, he's got brown eyes, right? And that's what it was known for like 10 years. And then all of a sudden the Halo wiki and, you know, all that needs to get changed because he has blue eyes. Exactly. It's just like, it was a stupid little change that really pissed me off. That's basically the summary of that.
I can feel that.
Is that something new to the games then? Like, I know historically, like, things have changed in the games that have made, like, writers have to go back and abridge the books.
I don't think it had any impact on the games whatsoever, but it was just like based on the comics. But I mean, I don't know. For me, it was just like there was no reason to change it. Like you said, like stuff when it has impacts, like I could get there's a different level of annoyance around that, but like even more so when a change is being made that doesn't have any effect on anything, because it just seems pointless, right? So.
Yeah, it's my fear going into Halo Infinite is that they're not reactionary to the things people didn't like about Halo 4 and Halo 5 and are going to be changing things mindlessly. I don't think that's what they're doing, at least based on the art style. Like, they've seemed to keep a balance. Yeah, they seem to reach like a thing that will satisfy most people. I also don't think you could cater to fans that were, you know, fans of the games like 10 years ago. Like, they're not the relevant audience now. So like that was, I guess, my biggest takeaway from like the latest trailer. I'm sorry, I'm going back and talking about the trailer. But
Still,
I'm glad to see that 343. At least it's looking like they won't be mindlessly reacting to like the misgivings that hardcore fans had for the game. It reminds me of like Suicide Squad going through reshoots based on their like reactions to their test screenings, and like the fine, even though the original movie was okay, the end product was, you know, was a result of a lot of over editing and a lot of reshoots that weren't necessary, because they were trying to kind of please everybody and in the end pleasing no one.
Yeah, that's
classic Halo fans in a nutshell. Never pleased.
So the thing that I want to move on to next is the soundtrack, because I've found that
I will say my piece because I have to leave.
Please. But please.
Yeah, no, it is the. I don't even know that moment when you saw Chief walking to like the Forerunner like console where you see the Halo being projected. That is like. To me, it was like, that is the type of like intrigue and mystery that I think I've been missing from all the Halo stuff.
Of like the control room from Halo CE, right? So
it kind of, I think they're really hitting on like traditional points, which is good. I mean, I don't necessarily think it has to be perfect, but I feel like they're really going about getting those emotional connections from previous soundtracks, but moving them forward with a slight change. And it's like bringing back Halo. Was it Combat Evolved bit to the present day in some regards, at least audio wise. So I'm happy.
Incredibly, and it just has such a striking presence on you, right? Like, like it's just how do you say it? The original soundtrack, the original Halo CE main theme, like with the monks, with the piano, with the guitar riff, it just stood out so much. It was just so memorable. Like, had such a memorable theme.
It's this thing is still gonna get standing out. I guess maybe I'm not listening quite as closely to game audio as I am in the past, but it feels like it still has it's Halo, but it's also different, and it's making sure people know they're not like other games, other sci-fi. Alright, I gotta leave. You guys are really fun to hang out with. I'm sorry, all.
Same. Good to meet you.
BB.
Yeah, bye-bye. Take care.
No, but yeah. So, in talking about the soundtrack, so we know that Kazuma Jinouchi, I'm butchering that, the one who composed for Halo 4 and 5, will not be staying with 343. So he's not gonna be the composer.
Sometimes.
Was he? Like, I'll be honest. Like, when I listened to the soundtrack for Halo 4 and 5, it didn't stick with me as as strongly as Marty O'Donnell's freaking Halo theme stuck with me. But that's his personal.
I would say the same, but the tracks he composed, I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name.
Oh, that guy Kazuma did, right? Yes.
Yeah, are probably my favorite in those, at least in like the released like soundtrack albums.
Oh, okay.
Because the rest of them are by Neil Davidge, and like if you look at the track list for Halo 4 and Halo 5, they're massive because so much of that soundtrack is like gameplay, ambience, battle music. It's not really things that stand out when you listen to them in that isolated form. But like there are a few tracks that I really like, and they're by Kazuma. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he also did Halo 2 No, never mind. That's someone totally different.
Halo 1 through 3, ODST and Reach should have been Marty O'Donnell, as I understand.
No, but the anniversary version of the soundtrack is different.
Oh, okay.
There's a Halo 2 anniversary soundtrack. That was by Paul Lipson.
Huh.
So, he might... did they talk about who's gonna do the soundtrack?
Halo Infinite? So...
Yeah.
I don't know, Jordan, if you have additional info on this, but when I was looking up, there has been no one confirmed for doing the soundtrack for Halo Infinite yet, though there is rumors of Marty possibly returning to be the composer for Halo Infinite. In this tweet that he posted of him meeting up with current Microsoft senior creative director Joe State for a quote coffee meetup.
It's like video game journalism in a nutshell. It's like, wait, these two friends went out for a coffee. This guy's definitely working on the next soundtrack for the next Halo game.
I mean,
it's just like they work together for how long? Of course they're gonna want to go out for a coffee sometime as friends.
Right.
But in terms of Marty O'Donnell working on the next Halo game, I don't see it happening. Like,
especially since that lawsuit and stuff, right?
Well, he does his own stuff, right? Like, that's his thing now.
He's working with the Highwire. That's right.
But wasn't it also with Bungie?
So
yeah, I mean, like, he fell out with Bungie, but that's like, I mean, he wouldn't be interacting with Bungie this time anyways, so it wouldn't really be a problem if that was one of the reasons.
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
Right, I don't think that would be a reason.
Yeah, I mean, essentially though.
But why do you think he won't come back?
He's currently working on a Golem for another project right now, and he hasn't announced that he's leaving them anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm back.
Hello.
I don't know. The thing is, like, the thing with Halo soundtracks, right, is like when Halo Combat Evolved came out, and that was as epic as it was, video game soundtracks still weren't really a thing that were popular and known. So when he brought out such an epic soundtrack back then, it was like, oh my god, this soundtrack is the best thing ever. And I'm not saying that wouldn't happen if it got brought out nowadays, but how people consume the media and look at soundtracks is very different now, and what people expect from the soundtracks is very different now. So, like, even battle music, like it was mentioned just before, you probably wouldn't expect too much of that to be on a soundtrack back in 2001, right? You just expect music.
Yeah.
But now, every video game soundtrack has all the different variants of all the different battle music, because that's just what they have. So it's really tough to kind of hold up other composers and say, you know, will it have the, you know, Marty O'Donnell style to it, or will it have a different style, or what will work and what won't work? Because soundtracks as a whole are just different these days, and you know, it's not really down to the game or the composer, really. It's down to the people who are listening to it and how they listening to it. So it's tough. It's, you know, it's got a lot of levels to it. It's not just as black and white as this guy put some monks in a theme and then suddenly it's the best thing ever, you know, because that's what a lot of people think it's like, right? Some people think you just add some monks and a piano and then the Halo theme's back, but it's so much more complicated than that.
Especially considering Marty's I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I was just going to say that even if Marty did come back and made the soundtrack similar to the old games, I don't think it would do as well as what people think it will.
No, especially since before Marty was working pretty closely with developers at the time doing those soundtracks. If you ever watch, what's it called? It's like the Vidocs and also the that bonus disc that came with like Halo 3's Legendary Edition. Or he talks a lot about working with level designers and all that, and crafting the music to kind of play with what the player's doing, and to expect that same thing from a guy who's probably not going to have that level if he were to be brought onto this project. I don't imagine he'll have the level of interaction with designers that he had back then, especially
with how big the
given his ability to devote that amount of time if he's got his own personal project going. That and like if you listen to the Halo 2 anniversary track, it's different, but it's pretty what's the word, faithful to Halo 2's original soundtrack, and that's by a totally different composer. And so it's not like the style that people want from the old games. It could very possibly still be there without Marty O'Donnell. It won't be the same probably, but I also don't think it's like the end of the world if we don't get him. Yeah,
agreed. I mean, like, they already know like what the thematic melody is, and the fact that we already heard it being used in the trailers, which I gotta say, the trailer music was pretty hype. That was good. It was so good. Like when the beat drops, when you see Chief, it's so good. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm feeling good about Halo Infinite soundtrack so far, from at least from what we've seen from the trailer and from the opening cinematic. But,
so hype. So hype.
But yeah, just continuing on down the list. Halo Community, Halo 3 friends probably gonna be making return.
Boo! Halo Community sucks.
Are you excited to see the dead community get revived?
Yeah, they don't suck too bad. I don't want the Halo 3 community back though. The Halo 3 community is toxic. Like whiny little crybabies who are like, oh, but you put sprint in my game and where's my BR that doesn't work properly? Like, get out of here. Just like play your Halo games, play MCC if you want Halo 3, and let's just like stop whinging.
What I associate that is with the MLG crowd who that like their wants were you know, paramount to the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, Halo MLG was a thing. That's right.
Good old Halo MLG.
Yeah, like they were the consistent biggest bitches Halo community.
Back during the days when
I feel like that's what I am now when it comes to competitive Halo. That's me. That is me. Like,
but you're a bitch because you cry, not because you're complaining.
I do both at the same time. Usually about Halo 5.
Lol.
So, yeah. I don't know. Halo Infinite is going to be an interesting one. ultimately it's gonna come down to will it have sprint or not. That's all. Like Halo fans don't care about anything else. Like if it's a got sprint in it, the classic fan base is just like, this is heresy, I'm not gonna play this game. And if it doesn't have sprint in it, then the 343 fans are gonna be like, this doesn't have sprint in it, this is heresy, I'm not gonna play this game. So like it's just like one feature is going to define whether people are going to play it or not, which is just stupid. The community needs to get a grip and just play games because they enjoy games instead of just judging it based on one mechanic.
Totally.
I would also say that is a very small, loud minority of people. It like reminds me of the console. Where, I mean, I'm sure a majority of people who bought an Xbox or a PlayStation just bought it because they liked it. But it's like, there's also that like subset of people who made it like their mission to convince the other side that they were fucking wrong for buying a PlayStation or a PlayStation.
I mean, all you need to do is go on Twitter. It's still very much so a very violent thing on Twitter.
Oh, I stay away from Twitter.
I follow a lot of people who are just like, you play PlayStation? Well, you don't even deserve to live. And it's
must be gay.
Oh, how about we just play games, folks, and like stop bitching about every little thing we don't like? Yeah, how about that? You know.
It's funny because I think you know, back at least for me personally, the console war conversations kind of started because you had friends that you wanted to play games with, right? And you're just like, wait, I can't play with you.
Wait, you had friends?
I'm sorry. I had one friend that had an Xbox that was.
We had theoretical friends.
Yes.
The friend was your Xbox, right? This is what we're talking about.
Sadly, no. My only friend was my PlayStation, and that's why I couldn't play with the other friend.
Wait, you played PlayStation? Alright, screw this guy. I'm leaving this podcast.
I would say the main reason for a console war is that when you're in fucking middle school, you can't afford to buy all.
Exactly.
So you buy the one and defend it with your life.
Yes. The one best console that rules all the other consoles. Well, I mean, at least
I don't know. The whole thing is just silly.
At least with I mean, here's a question: do you guys think that Halo Infinite will be crossplay, or has that been confirmed? I actually haven't heard any news on that.
Between PC and console, you mean?
Yeah.
Probably.
So, yeah. I'm more interested to see if it'll be crossplay between the One and the Scarlet.
Oh,
it's not play anywhere though, so if you want to play on PC and console, you need to buy a copy for each. Just a heads up. First Halo game to be on Games Pass, it's not play anywhere. Fun fact.
Interesting that they're making like that. But then Xbox.
The fun thing is they refuse to comment on it every time you ask them.
Really? They just won't comment on it. Oh man.
They just refuse. They refuse to comment on why it's not play anywhere. They just straight up won't tell you.
Damn. Okay. Maybe we'll find out.
So I wonder if that means there won't be crossplay.
Who
knows? I don't see them doing that though, considering MCC.
Yes, since MCC is coming out. Well, I mean, MCC is not going to be crossplay anyways, right? Or is it?
I'm pretty sure it will be.
Ooh.
I know.
I think they said it's gonna be in the future, I think.
Yeah, probably like by next year.
Well,
when it eventually gets out the door.
Once we actually get Halo MCC on the PC, shit, still waiting for that.
Well, you get them one game at a time as well, so by the time Halo 4 finishes launch on the MCC, like on PC, it's probably going to be Halo Infinite time anyway.
Oh god damn!
And you can skip Halo 5 anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But yeah. So just moving on to like the last topics. Jordan, you want to tell us about the Halo Outpost Discovery that you went to in Orlando?
Oh yeah. So it was a Halo event, believe it or not. They had some Halo stuff there, and that's pretty much it. It was basically it's called Halo Outpost Discovery. So they're touring 5 different states this year. It is the first year.
So this is the first year that they're doing this Halo Outpost Discovery thing.
Yeah, so it's going to be an ongoing thing, basically.
Oh, cool.
So basically, I went to the first ever one, the first one that they did of the first year, and oh my god, what a shit show!
I saw your Twitter post. I was just like, oh, Jordan's literally having a good time. Fuck.
we joked about it on the last day with the 343 team and just been like, yeah, we're the flight testers, we're the beta testers of Halo Outpost Discovery. But Jesus Christ, what a mess.
What's so bad about it? Because I only saw like a single like video recap of it, and the guy.
Rather,
I'm curious to see what was wrong with it.
Can you start off with like what it is supposed to be? Halo Outpost Discovery.
So basically, it's like a giant kind of, not really a convention, but kind of like a celebration of Halo. And they've got a lot of events there. So you got the combat deck. The whole history is generally like the main area. You got the Halo Ring experience. You got Halo VR. You got like a target range type thing. You've got an escape room, and you've got Pelican training, and then various other bits like the Mega Bloks area and all that stuff. It's basically just a chance for Halo fans to kind of either get introduced to the universe or kind of experience their passion for it.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's a 3-day long event, so it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, I mean, yeah, I'll just basically go through what it was like for me. So,
from day one,
I bought. Yeah, so day one, yeah. So I mean, there's two different types of tickets, right? You get a standard ticket and a VIP ticket, right? Me, obviously, gotta go VIP or go hard or go home kind of attitude. So I bought the VIP ticket. Yeah, that's it. So I get there anyways. I get my ticket, and that's all fine. We get let into the VIP lounge early because they don't care about checking the times, apparently. That's an ongoing thing all weekend, just a heads up. So we get in there anyways, and all this like food and drink and stuff, it's just not there. We don't have any food and drink. Alright, okay, no worries, we'll just go back to the hotel and come back when it opens. So you come back when it opens, you walk into the show floor, and it's just empty. It's just like, what the fuck, there's like hardly anything here. But it turns out that they've actually got another entrance. Yeah, that's right. The first entrance is just to go into the second entrance, right? So you're gonna line twice. So you go through the second entrance, and it's actually really cool. You've got nicely organized open space. You've got the Master Chief statue. You've got like the Warthog replica. You've got an real life elite sized elite there. You got all the different things you can do. So that's cool. We get the extra hour. First thing I do, go to buy some merch. So on the first day, they obviously hadn't been told to put a limit on anything.
Oh god.
So you had people buying like 8, 16, pop figures.
Oh god.
These were $10 each at the store, right? $10, and people were selling them on eBay for over 100.
Damn.
Right? And on the first day, there was no limit, so people were just buying them in mass to sell.
Oh,
that got fixed by the second day, luckily. Anyways,
and these were a limited edition for the Halo Outpost, right?
Yeah, so they're exclusive to Halo Outpost Discovery.
Oh, lols.
Yeah. And they're also one of the things that were the selling points for the VIP ticket, and we didn't get told that we'd sell them in the store.
What?
So they were. So basically, if you bought a VIP ticket, you got this exclusive VIP swag bag, right? So I got a Halo Outpost Discovery like zip tie bag. Then you got a pop figure.
You would get a pop figure for a VIP. Okay.
Yeah, and then like some other bits, but they didn't tell us that the pop figures were going to be widely available. So we just thought they were exclusive. So they weren't exclusive. The Games Pass was added last minute to the swag bag, so that wasn't even meant to be in it. So basically, we paid for a swag bag that basically had nothing in it, which was a great start. Anyways,
wait. Sorry, backpedal real fast. I'm sorry. You're saying the pop figure you got as part of the VIP swag bag is widely available to the general public, while the pop figure sold for $10 is the limited edition one.
Yeah.
What?
Cool.
Damn!
So it's like, buy the VIP pass, get this exclusive VIP swag bag.
Oh.
But by the way, all the stuff's available in the store for probably a lot cheaper than what you're paying for the VIP pass. Bear in mind, I paid $350 for my ticket. Right, this is not a cheap ticket. Right. Anyways, so moving on to the actual events on the first day. So the first signing was Steve Downs and Kiki. Best, like most well-organized signing I've ever seen in my life. Right.
Okay.
They started queuing like an hour before. The line was cut off when it was getting too full, and then people were in and out. You know, you got the hello, you got the my name's this, sign this please, bish bash bosh, and it was great. And then we carried on. Me and my friend, we just went round, did some of the attractions. They had a nice little Halo Outpost Discovery app, which was really fun. Because if you did all the challenges, you could then redeem the challenge rewards at the information desk and get like exclusive dog tags. So that was really cool. A nice little feature, actually. One of the best things they did. Moving on to the second signing. I'm sure you've seen on Reddit or Twitter about this one. So the signing was Jen Taylor and Steve Downs, 7:30. People had been queuing from 4:30, right? No one told them to disperse. No one moved them. Right?
Oh, fuck.
So by the time 7:30 comes around, you've got hundreds of people queued up in the main hall, absolutely blocking everywhere. Right?
Oh, is this for a line? Oh shit.
And then they end up saying, right, there's too many people here, we're gonna raffle off who gets the signing now. Bear in mind, you've had people waiting 3 hours for this signing, right? So that happens, and chaos ensues. People go home absolutely furious. Day 2 happens, you think, right, they send out an email, they're saying, right, you're not allowed to queue until an hour before the signings now. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for the email. The first signing for Jen Taylor and Steve Downs on day 2 was at 11:30, right? No, it wasn't. I'm lying. It was at 12.
Okay.
Queuing was meant to start at 11, right? So I get there for 10:30. Sorry, the line's capped. I'm like, what do you mean the line is capped? It's 10:30. Queuing doesn't even start for another half an hour. They're like, yeah, no, it's been capped since like 9 o'clock this morning. I'm like, are you serious?
God damn.
So the line was capped like before people were even meant to start queuing, right? And that happened for all the signings on the Saturday. Also, if you'd paid for a drinks canister, then on the day before, I forgot to say, on a Friday there was no free drinks or food in the VIP lounge, but you could buy a drinks holder for $35.
A drinks holder?
And then put, yeah, like a giant like metal mug type thing. So, and that was $35.
God damn.
That would mean pour yourself a drink. Okay. Day 2 rolls around, right? And shout out to John Friend, because he sorted he paid out of his own pocket for all this.
Oh shit.
Or at least I'm assuming he did, but he paid a lot of money regardless to get these like mugs paid off for everyone, because the people who had ordered them didn't say they were meant to be given away for free. So anyone who paid day 1 was like out of pocket, because they were then free for day 2 and day 3 to get a drink. We also had snacks on day 2, thank God.
And this is for VIP. So this is supposed to be for VIP.
Yeah, this is the VIP lounge, right?
So this is like a very poorly run.
Oh, it was extremely poorly run, but not for the free-for-free industry side. There was just not a lot of communication going on between all the teams. So that's day 2, anyways. The queuing is still awful. Like people like I was the only international person, me and my friend, that we ran into, right? And bear in mind, we travelled like from England to America to see Jen and Steve.
Fuck.
And day 2 has come and gone, and we haven't seen Jen, right?
Oh,
so day 3 is the final day. Yeah, day 3 comes about, and we're like, right, I'm gonna sacrifice my soul to see Jen and Steve today. Right, okay, here's the most annoying thing. They sent out another email, right? And they said, right, we're limiting the amount of people per queue now. 100 people per sign-in for these sign-ins, and the Jen and Steve is limited to 60 people. Right, first come, first served, right? So I get there at 9 o'clock when the event opens for VIP. There's people there already, queued, right? since 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, wait, what time was the signing supposed to be at?
9.
The signing was at 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. was the signing.
Oh god.
So I walk up to the guy and I said, how would these people? Why were these people even allowed in? The venue doesn't open until 9 o'clock for VIPs, and the queuing is not meant to start until an hour before signing. And they were like, yeah, well, it's just the way it's happened, you know. That's just how it is. We've given away numbers to people, and you know. So I said, I walked up to someone else. I said, you know, what's the deal here? Like, you're giving away numbers to people if they get their place in line, or are they allowed to leave? And they were like, no. If they leave, they lose the space. So I went, right, okay, come here and have a look at this line. So how many people do you think that are in that line? They said, oh, I don't know. I said, there's 17 people in this line, and there's meant to be 60 of them. As far as I'm concerned, their ticket is not mine. Right.
Lol.
Anyways, hours pass, like 2 hours or so to try and sort out this mess, right? So by the time I have spoke to the people in charge, I've spoke to 343, I've spoke to various other people who are working the event. And it basically ends up getting solved that if they're not there, they lose their space, right?
Right.
So I managed to get in with my friend.
Oh, good shit. Into the 60 people kind of thing.
Yeah, the 60 people one, right? Yeah.
Oh shit.
So it's
good
just
shit.
like that's like most of the morning gone already, right? Because it opened at 9 and it's now like the sign-in is at 2, right? So 9 till 3 was basically spent sorting this whole thing out. And then I've got 2 hours left of the event.
Oh.
Well, no, 4 hours, sorry. I think I finished at 7 on Sunday. Like, don't get me wrong, the actual attractions were great. The ring experience was amazing. You know, the life-size models were great. It's a lot easier to talk about the bad than it is the good. But just because the bad, you know, the bad's what you remember.
Yeah.
Right? Bad's what sticks out. But there was a lot of good stuff as well. The combat deck, with the weapons and stuff, the laser tag, that was really fun. And I really liked the VR as well. The VR was really good. Like really immersive VR.
Like
in terms of the last signing with Bonnie, it was really it was organised, but there was a lot of non-VIP people getting in the VIP lounge, let's just say that.
What? They just let people in? What the hell?
Yeah, it's not 343's fault, but it's just the overall thing is basically don't get a VIP pass. Because I spent like an extra $150 or $100 or whatever it was for the VIP pass, and it pretty much got me nothing extra.
Yeah.
I would amend that to say don't do that.
Yeah, the first year, especially the very first event too. Oh man.
Well, the problem is they sold it as kind of you get you know unique interactions. You get to hang out with the 343 team more, and you get to do this and that and the other, and none of that really happened. So I mean, like I said,
I'm sure they planned, and it's just the whatever event coordinator they had, if they had one, what organization they had just fell through. And I think it's pretty common for year one of an event. You know, I wouldn't hold it against them.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like at the same time, I did pay $350, so I'm not gonna just like dismiss it either. Like I get there's a balance, you know, it's the first time doing it, and there's gonna be issues and stuff, and they're well aware of all the feedback. I've spoke to all the head guys at 343 for the event organisation, and all that. I've spoke to them loads about it. So they're well aware, and they said they'll probably have it sorted all by this year. I was just a beta tester. What can I say? But I wouldn't say not to go. It's an experience that you definitely, like, every Halo fan should try. Just don't buy a VIP pass. And if you're unsure about it, just go for one day, and then you can always buy another day ticket if you liked it.
How much was a day ticket? Do you know?
I think it was like $35 maybe.
Wow.
I think a single day VIP ticket was $60.
Wait, a single VIP, day VIP.
I'll be right.
No. It's $60.
And then for a full VIP ticket for 3 days is $350.
140.
Oh fuck. Okay, that's still.
Okay, there we go. You know the ticket prices. I just bought a weekend VIP. I didn't look at any of the other prices. So I was just guessing.
It doesn't look like there is a 3-day VIP. There's only separate day VIPs.
They're probably sold out for. I know they're sold out for the next event. They might not be sold out for like the last 3.
Because Jordan went to the very first Halo Outpost Discovery event. And shit, I'm so sorry that you didn't have a good experience as VIP. Shit.
I went there to meet Jen and Steve, and I met Jen and Steve. That's all I care about. That's $350 well spent for me. But just to everyone else who's thinking of going, who maybe isn't that hyped to meet the voice actors, just get a day pass.
Good shit. Well, I think we're at the end of our time for the podcast, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Last thing to wrap up is, so what do you hope to see at E3 2020 for Halo Infinite?
There should be another thing, just like what happened in E3 2014, I think, where they had that entire secret facility type of build. I kind of want to see that back again, because Halo never had a big thing like that ever since that day.
What do you mean?
Like, you remember? Yeah, the HoloLens thing. Like they give you a briefing and all that stuff. It was pretty cool.
In 2014. Oh, I did not know about
that. Yeah, that was like a big event. Yeah, that was I believe it was 4. Yeah, it's for Halo 4. It was really cool.
Halo 5 it would have been, because Halo 4 came out in 2012.
But wait, sorry, Halo 5. I bet. Yeah. Wait, is it? Hold on, I gotta Google this. But yeah, it's like you get a briefing by Roland and everything, so it's pretty cool looking. And then you got that.
With Google HoloLens though? LOLs?
No, Microsoft HoloLens.
Oh.
Google makes something else.
Sorry, yeah, Microsoft HoloLens. Oh shit.
They actually have the hologram deck in the museum as well, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, so basically it'd be something similar like that. Then of course there has to be something like Cortana related, just because she's going to be the boss as we know so far. That's pretty much what I need.
Ashes and Jordan, what are you guys thinking?
I'm hoping they release a small trailer of or just a little showcase of the campaign, just a little, maybe over 3 minutes or something like that. I'm not sure if we'll be that lucky, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Maybe see some of the gunplay, some of the movement mechanics, see if there's sprint, right?
Yeah, let's see if running makes a comeback. Or not running makes a comeback.
Jordan, what do you hope?
Actually skipping.
Either way, it should be fun. Maybe they learned their lesson with 5, and this time they put a little more.
Fucking say skipping. You just need to keep skipping. But yeah, Jordan, any final thoughts on what you want to see at E3 2020 for Halo Infinite?
Probably. What I want to see, I don't know, but what I think we're gonna see is probably a gameplay demo. Probably campaign gameplay demo. Probably on the Scarlet as well, I suspect, or PC, one or the other. It would be nice to see the Scarlet in action though.
To see.
But probably an on-stage campaign demo is probably what I expect to see.
That's gonna be fun. That's definitely gonna be fun, especially if we can see like exactly what kind of guns are gonna be introduced, what kind of mechanics would be introduced. It's gonna be good. E3 2020 is gonna be hype.
I'm curious to see how many gameplay rates are gonna still be like English. Like what is going to be held over from Halo 5 to Infinite. Because there's a lot of talks of the things that are, not really regressing, but I guess going back to roots with it. I'm curious to see what is going to be staying. And I think
it's going to be more appearance that's going back to the roots rather than gameplay. Sprint is now enough guaranteed to still be staying in the games. I can see Clamber being either reduced or removed completely. Spartan Charge and Ground Pound, obviously they're gone. Things like Slide, probably still around.
Has there been
small
like
scope
climbing
as well.
Has there been like ledge climbing or anything in Halo?
Clamber. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I really hope they keep small scope because like it'd just be really shit for them to go back to the Halo 3 style of aiming now that it's so integrated into the gameplay. I really don't see them going backwards with that anyway.
It would be a nice throwback, but
it would be very different. It would be.
It's just not practical in like modern shooters to have such useless sandbox of weapons.
Yeah, and I think most people would agree that like, their favorite part of Halo 5 is probably the multiplayer.
Oh yeah, and it's always multiplayer.
And so much of that is just how refined the game.
Yeah.
Halo 5's multiplayer is just like it's just underappreciated because it's hard. I think is the summary that I'd put forward, anyways.
Yeah.
Good shit. Well,
but yeah,
gentlemen, again, thank you
bring me back Halo. Halo 5 2. No. I don't want Halo 5.
It's just Halo 5 2. Oh god.
Halo Endgame.
Halo Endgame. Oh god.
Master Chief Far From Home or whatever.
Infinite War.
Oh god.
Well, he was far from home. I'll leave it at that.
Anyways, gentlemen, thank you again so much for joining for a Checkpoint podcast. Good shit.